Alright, I do believe we're live, and tried to be 2 minutes beforehand just like last week, but almost failed because our person that does the art things decided to kind of not do the art things this week. So I had to kind of ghetto rig a picture together for our guest. So if you look at the guest picture, it's actually the same one from last week. This one's wrong, unfortunately. The Linus Tech thing is wrong, unfortunately. And then that's actually Total Biscuit's picture, and I added another source file and then like sized it over top of that one, and then I did a screen capture of the TimmyTechTV thing and then added that one and like resized it and put it on top, and I like...
Looks good though.
It's super ghetto rigged.
End result doesn't matter.
End result, it worked.
Wins.
We're good. Yeah. So I was pretty happy with that, which is cool. We've got some really interesting stuff this week, like seriously interesting stuff. The GPU wars, like we talked about this last week, the GPU wars, where it was a big thing last week. This week, the GPU wars are on a completely different level. Like, last week they were like, yes, dueling gloves. This week they're like, grunge, guerrilla fighting, we're gonna kill you all. It's ridiculous.
They're macroing pretty hard.
They're macroing pretty hard. Their micro's also there, though. They're not just macroing.
Starting to show up.
They've been macroing for a long time. That was when they were building the graphics cards. Because they're making the graphics cards. But now they're both releasing. So they're doing the microing. They're trying to get all the cards to all the different stores and position them and everything.
They haven't started trading yet, though. We'll have to see.
Yeah, they haven't been trading much. For people that are wondering about the Rocket info, that's Linus's cat. He is home. The whole operation is complete. We contacted the dude that got us in contact with the girl, and then I got Linus's wife in contact with the girl, and Linus' wife went down there immediately and got the cat. He's very thin, like incredibly thin, but he's home, and he's happy, and he's hanging out with Rumble, and Rumble is all ridiculously happy. So the cats are all happy, the cats are all together. We're going to get him fed.
Yeah. Apparently he's pretty skinny right now. So.
Yeah, we're going to get him fed a lot, hopefully, so he can get some of that weight back, because he's at an probably unhealthy level of weight right now, which is not good. But the cat's back, the GPU wars are on, some dude that plays League of Legends leaked his girlfriend's photos on his Facebook.
We're starting with that right away?
No, we're not starting with that right away, I'm just doing the talking topics.
My bad.
So that you and I can scream about that later, because I'm assuming you're on the same team as me.
Here, move a little closer to me. I feel like I'm dominating the...
Hey, buddy.
There we go.
How's it going?
Friend.
And then Blizzard's dropping bombs. So I think those are our main topics.
Really excited about that.
The cat's back. GP wars are on. Blizzard's dropping bombs. And some jerk face posted his girlfriend's pictures on the Facebook. So we're going to run the intro and hope it works. And it didn't.
All right.
I know why that didn't work too. It didn't work because it's trying to run off of something that it's no longer connected to, because Linus was running media files off the server instead of off the local computer. Which is like, I was trying to figure out why. But
probably not the best idea. I should probably
just went with it. There we
go.
Oh. We are not technically powered by Razer comms anymore, but we still kind of have their branding everywhere because that art dude, too lazy, I swear. That's why I wear my Bear Dynamics now. No big deal. I got a lot of callouts for that last week. I love these. They're awesome.
The bass is incredible.
The bass is incredible. And the bass port is really cool too.
And as someone who has always idolized bass, someone who might have two 12s in his truck, that's, having a bass-style headphone is really cool. They sound not as good as your open-ear Sennheiser.
Yeah.
I forget which model number.
The 595s, but they basically, don't necessarily buy 595s, buy the 555s and then remove the little thing.
You got some
and
sale, didn't you? Or?
I got a crazy sale, so they were cheaper than 555s, which is redonky-dink, and that doesn't actually really happen. So that was lucky. Let's jump below the guest topics and talk first about RivaTuner before we actually get into like the juicy GPU versus GPU wars that we're going to be getting in and talking about later. We're going to start with RivaTuner. So What RivaTuner is basically it's the back end for a lot of what you guys use for graphics card overclocking. So I'm going to actually just focus on 2 right now, but it's basically the back end for everything. Afterburner and EVGA's Precision, there we go, X-Precision thing. I couldn't remember what it was called for a second. So the news going on about this is that RivaTuner won't support 64-bit or x64. It will support 64-bit. You can still overclock your graphics card. What won't work, there was a bunch of hype about that, what won't work is the overlay. I was wondering why there's so much hype about that. Of like, dude, we've had 64-bit operating systems. You're probably running one right now, and you're probably overclocking on it right now. Why are you freaking out? Yeah. Anyways, so no big deal. But what's not going to work is the OSD, the on-screen display in the top left-hand corner, which, while that does kind of suck, is not, like, super big deal.
It's not breaking. I really don't feel like it's, and a lot of people look for FPS, stuff like that. Fraps is a great way.
Fraps shows FPS. There was one thing that was suggested by the person who posted this on the forum. Actually, if we can jump, if you can bring it up, that would be great. That is if you scroll up a little bit and go to the RivaTuner thing right under guest topics. So go down below guest topics. RivaTuner right there.
Yep.
And bring up the post on the forum, just because I want to give a shout out to the dude who actually posted this on the forum. Once it loads...
Sorry, guys. I guess while it's loading, I had everything opened. Then I realized there was no way I could navigate through all these tabs. So here we go. We have made it.
Chris XLX Cross, I believe is the name of the guy that posted on the forum. And he had a suggestion, and that was PlayClaw. You can find it by going to playclaw.com. I checked it out very briefly by looking at the video and stuff. Fairly interesting. I haven't actually installed it, but it's fairly interesting. And the guy that made RivaTuner, which you guys can see on screen right now, and still maintains it, has basically said he's busy working on a whole bunch of other stuff, and while this is in his pipeline, it's very low priority in his pipeline, so it will be done eventually. But as there's not a ton of 64-bit required games, it's just not a huge deal right now. He's focusing on other stuff, like prepping for the Hawaii cards, which he's still, I'm sure, refining things for, and Nvidia's new stuff that's coming out, 780 Ti, which we get to talk about slightly, although we know nothing about it, so slightly is basically what I just said, is it kind of exists, and that's, yeah. So moving on from RivaTuner, Blizzard All-Stars, now Heroes of the Storm. I love this topic because they basically said nothing in the biggest possible way.
But it's kind of Blizzard style. It's really not something you should be confused about if you are used to them. A little name change, that's all we're doing. They don't really rush anything. But I'm extremely, extremely excited. I think it's going to be really cool.
One thing that I liked, actually, is that the video for this, if you want to bring it up, is created by this, what is it, Carbot Animations? It's not even like a super crazy, they didn't spend tons of crazy amounts of money, they probably threw him something, and it's just kind of awesome. Go to play the video for him. I'm going to make sure it's not way too astronomically loud for anybody. Oh, there we go.
Now that'll do nicely.
Huh? Apparently the sound was way out of sync, but you guys got the point. It's not exactly a super complicated video, they just basically show some heroes, and then Heroes of the Storm is now a thing. So they're going to be showing that off at BlizzCon. Yep. So this BlizzCon is actually going to be pretty intense.
I would, if you could pick any BlizzCon to go to, this would be the one. I would love to go to BlizzCon this year.
Because you've got Hearthstone, which is like gonna be huge.
I'm having tons of fun with Hearthstone.
It's gonna be huge. And it's one thing with Hearthstone that's interesting is like, okay, there's Magic. which is massive. But it has all the people that are already into card games.
Yep.
I think Hearthstone is going to bring people into card games that have never played card games before.
Exactly, and people from the Warcraft universe, such as us, talk about Vanilla WoW. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But guys like us who played a lot of Warcraft. Warcraft. I wish I played 2.
Yeah.
It's sad to say I only played 3. So Warcraft 3 and sunk a lot of time into World of Warcraft, especially Vanilla WoW, Burning Crusade, stuff like that. It really pulls us in, and I remember we were talking, the artwork is fantastic.
Yep.
As we're used to, and just being in the Blizzard universe, you're starting to read one of the novels. I'm 3 novels in right now. Vancouver, an event we went to that actually gave away Blizzard novels.
Yeah.
So read the first free one, ended up buying 2 more. Going down to the States tomorrow to do some shopping. I'll be buying at least 3 is my plan. So, the Warcraft universe is really, really cool.
Really good lore, and
it's like you said, it's pulling in the guys that have played card games before and the guys who haven't. The guys who are used to Magic and the guys who are used to Warcraft and who are in the Blizzard universe. Lots of money.
Seriously. And then, it pulls in the Warcraft fans like us. We both really like the lore, and we've played the games, both versions of the game, the RTS and the MMO. And then you jump into the card game, and you're like, oh, everything's familiar, it's not scary. I'm putting down raid leaders and murlocs. This is fine. And then the people that are into card games, the names of the cards aren't very important.
Exactly. Not at all.
Pre-knowing Warcraft is not important at all. So jumping into Hearthstone is actually not difficult to do and quite easy. It's. I also find it much more noob-friendly than something like Magic. Because Magic is really deep and really complicated, and there's so many ridiculous layers of strategy, and of course there is with Hearthstone still, but the ease of entry and learning how to start, I don't find to be that difficult.
Yeah.
So that's basically all we really have for Blizzard All-Stars is there's a name.
Yeah.
Hooray!
There's a name, and something we mentioned, it's the first time they've done anything except for StarCraft, Warcraft, or Diablo. Yeah. Even though they're pulling off the universe, we mentioned
it's like a mixture.
But it is a different game. You have to understand this is one of the biggest companies to exist that has essentially 3 titles that have all existed since the 90s.
Well, one thing you could say that Warcraft 3 was a RTS and then they made an MMO, which is
That's true. That's true. That is true.
But then this is the first time they've had universe crossovers, as far as I know, other than joke stuff, which they've definitely had, but it was more under.
That's such a good point. I've never even. Stuff. That's very obvious, but I've never made the mental connection
because it happened so long ago.
Yeah.
And it happened.
But it was definitely an RTS.
Yeah.
And definitely went to an MMO. There's no.
It was one of the biggest possible changes they could have done.
Yeah.
But then it happened so long. What was it? 2004.
I want to say.
I think it was 2004 for Vanilla WoW. 2006 for Burning Crusade, or 2007?
No. Burning Crusade was definitely later.
2007.
I want to say 8.
It was pre-2008.
Was it pre-2008?
Yeah.
Because I know 2005 was the year I graduated, and we were definitely playing Warcraft then. And when I went to school, we were still playing Warcraft, and I was still rating MC and, BWL and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it must have been somewhere around 2008. 2000, maybe later, 2007. I'm pretty sure about that.
I just want to know, just because I'm interested, because it ties into a topic later on. So the release date in North America for the actual full game was 2004.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then Burning Crusade was... Oh, snap! Burning Crusade was January 2007, and Wrath of the Lich King was November 2008.
January 2007.
Yeah.
Okay. Beginning of 2007.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah, it's actually quite old now. You're looking at almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Because it's released in 2004, it's 2013 now. That's actually pretty ridiculous. I'm going to jump one because I think that could be a long... No, we'll actually do that right now. Apple is pushing up resolution, so let's jump to bring that up on your screen, and I'll bring that up. So Apple is, with their Apple TV, going to be pushing 4K soon. And they're basically doing a resolution refresh, or not necessarily refresh, they're pushing resolutions pretty hard on devices pretty much all across the board. So this is pretty interesting. It's from Mac Rumors, I believe. The person who posted on the forum was Kiri Huna. I hope I'm saying that right.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. It's posted on Mac Rumors, and honestly, just like a lot of the computer hardware sites, if it's posted on Mac Rumors, it's usually pretty correct, or pretty close to correct, so I wouldn't be surprised. So you can see on there, Apple TV, 55-inch and 65-inch 4K. That's beast.
That is.
I'm happy to see it. And now a lot of people in the audience are, I'm sure, if I check Twitch chat right now, wherever it is, Apple, wow, what the hell? Why is this Apple? I'm not going to buy one. I'm not interested in buying one.
I'm not interested in buying one either, but I already know what you're going to say. I'll let you lead into it.
It's going to push all the people who I'm going to buy stuff from to make it better.
Exactly.
Which is the thing that I like about Apple, and which is why I like them hanging around, is because the longer they're around, the longer they push stuff, the longer the stuff I get is not going to suck. Because we can look at Samsung S3s and how much plastic is in this, but I don't think something like the HTC One would have ever come around if it wasn't for an iPhone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we'd have more plasticky, cheapy stuff, which is good because we can afford it.
See, there's still the debate, because this is something
the flexibility thing.
We agree on many of things. One thing we disagree on is this back.
Yeah.
You dislike it, I like it.
I like the one of my main problems with this back is that there's not very many clips, so it just, it comes off way too easy. Like, I don't even have to try in the slightest. One thing that I noticed with some other phone that I don't have
it's a little bit
is
maybe
that
it's maybe more in theory it could be possibly more difficult to take off if you were to do that,
if that was a thing,
if you have done that
may
Apple.
Anyways, I think it's good what they're doing there.
But just to I'm gonna no, can't reach it too far. The thing is, when I bought my S3, I have an OtterBox case on it, not the crazy one. I don't even remember the name, but I can't use my phone without that OtterBox case on. So the back to me, that's just where we differ. You like to have no case.
Yeah.
With my day job, I gotta have a case on that thing.
Yeah, I used to carry a case.
It's just a different.
When I went to school and stuff, I had a case.
If you're gonna go no case, I personally think the HTC One could be just a better way to go. Although you lose the functionality of changing out the battery and the SD cards. Like, I love the fact that with Samsung phones, you can just take that off. I have an extra battery in my backpack at all times.
I tried.
For work.
That's another thing. I tried to swap the battery on this phone. I don't know if you remember that. I tried to swap the battery because I thought that was the problem with my phone having so many battery problems. And then that didn't help. Then I went on CyanogenMod, and that helped.
Best thing ever.
So because even though you can't change the battery, you can still go CyanogenMod on HTC.
That's true. That's
so I would almost see that would be a bigger improvement, actually. Just 1 second. Does this actually go live? Yes, it did. Yeah, where's Timmy?
Is he supposed to be calling us, or?
I thought so.
You said 5 o'clock, right? I believe you said 5 originally.
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna hang out in the channel. I was hoping so.
He's busy, man.
Anyways, there's the shout out for Timmy, so he's hopefully coming back. But we are going to jump on to the next topic for now. Secure U.S. government numbers leaked on 4chan. It's like the scariest title I've read in so long.
4chan will never quit, man.
It's just. So this is from Anime Wolf Kid, and the article is found on Daily Caller something. Yeah, dailycaller.com. And basically, numbers were leaked like a while ago and then leaked again recently. And the numbers include, this is a long list, so give me a second, the White House Situation Room, the direct line to the U.S. Department of State Operations Center Senior Watch Officer, that's the longest thing ever, the National Military Command Center at the Pentagon, the U.S. Strategic Command Bunker, the Campisi Alert Facility, the Operations Room for the National Airborne Operations Center, the Raven Rock Mountain Complex, the Active Control Room of the 91st Operations Group, the 740th Missile Squadron, and the Kirtland Underground Munition Storage Complex.
It's a lot of things.
So the numbers were originally posted on September 13th, and they're reposted on October the 13th, and basically it's ridiculous. It's 4chan, so what they did is they called in and they asked about Battletoads. Because it's 4chan. What do you want them to do? So
what do you expect, really?
Yeah, I was actually kind of. This is gonna sound bad. You shouldn't call the Pentagon. but when I read this and I was like, they asked for Battletoads, I was kind of happy because I was like, the internet's never really gonna change. We're always gonna want more Battletoads.
Yeah,
we're always gonna ask for more Battletoads.
Battletoads will always be in demand.
They will be.
This is something we know.
Yeah, one of my comments here is, I love how people received information like this and their knee-jerk reaction was to ask about Battletoads. Because that's like the first thing they do after they get it. It's like, oh, do you have Battletoads? It's like, what? There's no way. Anyways, that was pretty awesome. If you guys want to hear, I think there's 3 of the recordings were posted online on Giazzo or whatever. So if you want to hear those, if you check out the WAN show document, which will be in the description of this video after it is uploaded as an archive on YouTube, you can check that out. And in there, there's the 3 links to hear the recordings. 2 of them don't have the other line recorded, so they're kind of boring, and that dude just asked about Battletoads. The third guy has the other line recorded, but all you can hear from him is he's a little bit hard to understand. He has a pretty heavy accent, and then he says like a whole bunch of code words, so it sounds super serious, and then just hangs up. Is Timmy in the TeamSpeak now? Timmy is in the TeamSpeak.
There we go.
Hello, Timmy. Hello, Timmy.
Hey, how's it going?
There we go. We can hear him. Do you have your headphones?
I do.
1 second, Timmy.
I am here.
Sorry,
Alright.
guys. I should have had this ready.
Oh, it's all good. Alright, Timmy, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell people where they can find you, tell them who you are, what you do, what's your YouTube, blah, blah, blah.
So, I'm just a small YouTube channel. Do this as a hobby. It's TimmyTechTV up on YouTube, so it's YouTube.com/TimmyTechTV. And mainly I'm trying to do unboxings of stuff and more from a user perspective, you know, rather than, I don't know, I guess the polish that you guys put on stuff. I just kind of do it as a hobby, and it's mostly stuff that I buy or that, you know, I build for people as a system builder, so.
That's cool. Sorry, we were fooling around there a little bit. Alright, so we're going to jump into our first topic, which Timmy chose, and that is the R9 290X launch has been postponed. Now, I found this pretty interesting because one of Timmy's tweets actually made it into the article, so make sure you bring up both there. We're going to jump to the laptop screen, and basically, as you can see right there, Timmy's tweet down there at the bottom, it's been delayed a whole bunch. What do you have to say about this?
First, I'm famous, and I didn't even know it until I saw the link you posted there. But I think this is a game of one-upsmanship. I think that maybe AMD found out that Nvidia was hosting that event this weekend and decided to hold off. You know, this is a lot of leaks have come out about, you know, how it compares to the 780 when it's in quiet mode.
Right.
So I'm curious. I'm just kind of curious if they're going to want everybody to rerun against the 780 Ti before they release the embargo.
That's not a bad point, because it's been really confusing from the reviewers' end, because like we get this card and they're like, yeah, here's your release date, and then right before the release date it's like, nope, don't do it. This is your new release. Nope, this is your new release date. It's like, what are you doing? Stop.
Well, and I thought it was really interesting that they actually let the one stat come out, but nothing else.
Yeah, the one stat going out, nothing else, and then they're gonna have a, not necessarily hands-on, as in I don't know if people can use it, but they have that event coming up, the public event right by the Nvidia event that's going on right now. Like, that's ballsy.
I thought that was actually really awesome, to be honest with you, because usually it's Nvidia trolling AMD.
Yeah.
So I thought hey, we're just going to set up right across the street from you and show you how awesome AC4 looks in 4K, you know, surround. I don't know, it's kind of cool.
I thought that was pretty crazy. And then they had 780s there too. So you could see the 290X, and then you could see a 780 playing the same game. So like, that was really aggressive in my opinion, because they could have gone with just their card and been like, look how well it works, but no, right beside the Nvidia event that is press only, they had an open to the public event where you could see both cards. So like, they're doing this stuff behind doors, we'll do it right here.
I think it's what Timmy said. They're just one-upping each other.
Yeah.
You know, to make another StarCraft analogy, because that's all I seem to do, you know, they're seeing their opponent take a third base, well, I'll take a fourth. I'll take a fifth. I'll do this, you know, I'm going to sit back a little bit. I'm going to grow stronger and stronger and stronger before we end up, you know, really getting into it and really start swinging at each other. But what a cool idea. Out to the public, here's theirs, here's ours.
And it's interesting because...
And
No, go.
I was gonna say, to be fair, that from what I heard from people is that there was somebody at the door asking people if they were media, and then gently reminding them that Nvidia did invite them and they shouldn't come in. So they weren't like, "Hey, all you media guys, come on over and check this out."
That's interesting.
So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some respect there for sure.
That is actually pretty cool, to be honest. The whole one-upping thing. I was actually pretty surprised at the 780 Ti announcement.
Yeah, no kidding.
When people were talking about rumors going on that were about stuff that was going to come out of this Nvidia event, I expected other Ti series for the 700 series to be announced. The 780 Ti, I wasn't sure if they had it sitting there or not, because the 780 and Titan are actually pretty close, to be completely honest. And the 780 Ti segment might make a lot of sense, especially if they do a price drop on 780, so they're more competitive or whatever. So it's going to be interesting what's happening now, because Nvidia basically is sitting there with this card that, as far as I know, no one has yet, going, you don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And you're about to release your new big card. What if this crushes you?
Yeah.
And it puts AMD in a pretty awkward spot, but then AMD responds by going, here, everybody try it, whatever. So it's going to be really interesting. The GPU wars were kind of dead there for a little while. If people watched our streams from back when we were in the garage, you could probably see the...
It was just dominated.
The dim and
let's
grim.
be honest.
Yeah. We were pretty much just talking about, like, will AMD still be a company next week?
Well, last time we were on the show, we were saying, AMDs, they're really picking up some speed. I remember talking about that. They're really coming together, and in the few weeks, it hasn't even been that long, we've seen incredible developments. And what we both said was, we feel like Nvidia is really the big guys. And just like we were talking about with Apple, we want them to push the industry. AMD is now absolutely pushing the industry. Whether if you're a fan of AMD, obviously that's great. If you're not a fan of AMD, that's also great.
That's great, yeah.
This is a win-win for consumers.
Yep, because stuff like 780 Ti will actually become a thing now.
Exactly.
What were you going to say, Timmy?
And the other thing is there's a lot of, any reviewer gets accused of this, oh, you're a Nvidia fanboy, oh, you're an AMD fanboy. In my personal systems, I tend to use more Nvidia parts. But for friends and family, I tend to recommend more AMD parts. And for everybody in general, people need to realize a strong AMD makes Nvidia better, and a strong AMD makes Intel better, because they can't sit on their hands and not give us the products that they've been developing for the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
That's a super good point. So if they do better on the GPU side, that will hopefully just have more money flowing through the company in general, and will help the CPU side too. So this is actually just generally just
it's
really
all
good.
Wins for us.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
really good what's going on.
For the consumers, and especially, who knows if that 780 Ti was meant to be an 800 series card and they pulled it back a generation just to compete.
Exactly, whether it was like an 870 or something.
That is not something I would have thought of. That's really interesting.
They do that a lot, though. They'll take a slightly higher tier card and they'll drop it down one tier and then just release it in the next series. So that's actually a really good point. It could have been what we were looking at for an 870 or something like that, but we have no idea. More at the Nvidia event, Nvidia G-Sync, SYNC. This is pretty crazy. When I first read the article about it on videocards.com, if you can jump that right, so... Nope, up. It's in the guest topics. Right there. So when I first read this, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but no one's going to care because you're locked down to Nvidia setup, and like who knows what's actually going to work where, and it's so proprietary, it's locked down, blah, blah, blah. And those were all the immediate thoughts that came to my mind. And whatever improvements it could be, and I read about how it's syncing the refresh rate with how your graphics card is performing at the time, and it's supposed to make it smoother and stuff, and I was like,
It's basically making the refresh rate dynamic. Would that be a good way to...
Yep. But I was wondering, like I was just saying, like, how much is that really going to do?
Yeah.
Like, is that really going to help it that much?
And how much is it going to cost in the end?
And how much is it going to cost in the end? Because you got to invest in this new monitor, because it's not gonna, it's built into the monitor.
And by in the end, I mean, when you eventually take that, like we do, when that system becomes, split up into two other systems or whatever happens, how is that going to work?
Yep. So I was pretty drawn back about this, and then I got a call from Linus. Those of you that were watching the pre-show know that happened, and I was kind of wondering what he was on about. It was G-Sync, and he has used it, and in his words, he is, where is it? He is completely mind blown, and he gushed pretty hardcore while he was on the phone. And his comparative was, you go watch a movie, and it looks really, really good, but it's at a much lower frame rate than what you're used to. It's at less than half usually, because it's usually running about 24 FPS. And we're going to just consider that everyone's running at 60 FPS in games all the time, which is really not something we could do, but whatever. Everyone's running at 60 FPS all the time. This is supposed to make it seem more like a movie. It's supposed to be way more smooth, because the refresh rate of your monitor will adaptively change to your GPU. So there won't be as much tearing, there won't be as much chopping, it'll be much smoother no matter what happens. And coming from Linus's mouth saying he's completely mind blown is a really big deal. I can't really say much else other than Linus said he was completely mind blown, because I haven't seen it.
You had it on speakerphone.
Yeah.
He was extremely excited. I just want to emphasize that. He was very excited, sounded very genuinely impressed. He was not on a stream. You know, he didn't have that energy of trying to be on camera. He was just talking to you on the phone, and was very excited.
It's probably the most mind blown I've ever heard him. What were you gonna say, Timmy?
I caught a little of the stream this morning, and especially the after event where they had the panel. But right before that, he walked over to Tim, and Tim had walked over to one of those G-Sync computer systems, and you could see him like messing around. You know, like he made it the absolute worst case it could be.
Yeah. And
you could once in a while see a little tiny, and that's real time, rendering on that display.
Yep.
Every once in a while you could see a little tiny jitter where you could tell that the frame rate was dropping a little bit, but it wasn't going all the way down. But you could always read the text that was on the pendulum, and there was never any tearing. Yeah. If you really paid attention, you could see it downshifting in frames, but
right.
Never saw tearing, you never saw artifacts. So I can see why he's excited about it. I think the same thing that you guys already said, which is, I'm scared that this is another one of those proprietary, products where, I have a 30-inch IPS panel.
Yeah.
Do I want to pay, $1,000 for another 30-inch IPS panel just so that I can use this? So that's kind of scary. But if they can talk, TV manufacturers into shipping with that part, it's a huge win. And there was something in the stream, and I may have misheard them, but they seemed to allude to it was a product that they were going to license as well. So I don't know if that means that, what that means, but...
Oh, are you saying as in that AMD could utilize it?
Because I wouldn't go that far, but they seem to allude to that it was like, because physics, there are some things that the two companies do where they do share the technology because it's better for, all of PC sales, right? Even though they don't really want you to know that, they do every once in a while work together for the betterment of everybody, all of the users.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if that's the tact, who knows, 2-3 years down the road if Nvidia adopts something like Mantle, or 2-3 years down the road that AMD adopts something like G-Sync.
It's going to be pretty interesting. One thing to note with this too is I have two PA248Qs, big IPS panels, and I know you just said you had a 30-inch IPS panel. This will only be working on TN.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah, so while I'm excited about it, and all the guys that have those like super quick BenQ monitors that they're using the light boost trick and all that kind of stuff on, I think those guys are going to be really interested in that. But IPS lovers, I don't know. I'm still not completely sold, because if I have to go buy a TN panel, I'm just going to look at it and be sad all the time. Just be like, why does this exist?
I really felt like when I saw this, it was like, wow, that's an awesome technology, and there's like a 50% chance it's DOA.
Yeah, there's
because
a pretty big chance.
Who's going to use it other than, high-end gamers? We'll see what else they can do with it. If they can work, because TVs, they may put this in TVs at some point, right? And if that is part of, like the whole streaming experience, right? So now you could stream to your TV and not just your Shield, then it makes a lot of sense. But I think they're just going into the TN panels, honestly, to start there and get a footprint. And then I think you're going to see it. Yeah, I think you're going to see it distributed more widely at some point. But
I'm wondering if there's some type of technical limitation, because there's actually quite a big difference between TN and IPS panels. Less of which between IPS and PLS, in my mind, just how it kind of works. because they are a lot faster. So I wonder if that's has something to do with the refresh rate switching. But maybe that's something they can fix in the end. They did say that they've been working on this for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually quite interesting. It'll be really interesting to see what's going on with G-Sync. Hopefully we get a sample here so we can try it out and do some videos on it, because with our slow-mo camera, we could show comparisons between a G-Sync monitor and a non-G-Sync monitor in the same situations.
Yeah, hopefully.
I know there's a few games actually that I can make tear, because I know certain parts that are hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I jump and turn in the right motion, I'll see it tear like crazy. So I'll try and show G-Sync comparative against that, and then just hopefully we get one so we can show it off, because that would be really cool. What happened to my power cable with my laptop? There it is. Sorry. We're probably going to jump into more topics than what's just in the guest topic list, but now we should jump up to Blizzard Free at last. So this is really interesting. So I think it was a joint venture between the company and the CEO and one other guy, which is kind of interesting, because the CEO and another dude paid in a whole bunch into this. But basically, put up on the forum by E. Chondo, we're going to jump onto that screen now. Blizzard is no longer under Vivendi. And this is really interesting, because one thing that Richard was actually talking about earlier is we were huge fans of Vanilla WoW and Burning Crusade and COD 4, which were all created before Vivendi owned Blizzard.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go for gold.
Those were the best games that were made. Vanilla WoW is so much better than any other WoW expansions that came out. Items, sets, should not be 4 pieces. I wear 4 pieces of clothing that are not a set that go together. Sets should be 8 pieces. Tier 0.5 is amazing. Tier 0.5 is what you get from going into 5-mans and some pieces you need from a 10-man dungeon that was called Ubers. You got a tier 0.5, and why you did that is because you went and got your tier 0.5 so that you could say to this guild that goes hardcore, that does work in 40-man raids and says, you know what? I'm a decent candidate for your guild because I have gathered my tier 0.5 gear, I know what I'm doing, and I'm getting myself into it. It's not all purple, because purple is supposed to be rare, and things that are rare means not everyone has them. I know video games are trying to teach kids differently these days, but rare means scarce, not extraordinarily common. Which games are kind of... Sorry, Timmy, I'm kind of going on a bit of a rant here. But Vanilla WoW and 40-man raids, the way that loot was done, the difficulty was insane. People used to go against MC for weeks before, you could finish Molten Core. And BWL, oh my goodness, the dragons in there, the coordination of the very... I'm embarrassing myself because I don't remember the very first dragon, but the coordination of the fight, the hunters literally running around the outside, pulling dragons with them, adds, and everyone was in different locations. The difficulty is...
The very first boss.
The very first... You just walk in the door, and they're like, here you go. Maybe in a month you will practice enough to get this done, because you cannot just walk through the door, press 3 macros, be on your second monitor watching YouTube, and still win. It doesn't work like that anymore. COD 4 is the best Call of Duty ever made.
I think some people will debate you about COD 2 versus that, but...
That would be a good argument. That would be an argument in which I would disagree, but respect the other side. If you argue Black Ops or something like that... This is the thing. One thing from my casting... I'm getting a little more energetic now. But in my casting, I do take punctual opinions. Something I've stayed a little bit away from in my last time, but on this one I definitely will. COD 4 was the last time Call of Duty has also had dedicated servers. Now, I hope everyone in the PC world... Am I right about that?
I think they're... No, I don't necessarily...
Modern Warfare 2 did not. But they might have gone back to that. Now that I'm thinking about it, they might have gone back to it.
I think there's been at least one since COD 4. The Twitch chat will tell me. We're waiting on the Twitch chat.
We'll have to see.
OG Black Ops did, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Black Ops 2.
Sorry, my problem is I
Black
fell
Ops
off the
2
boat,
does.
and I did not.
Yeah.
But they
few,
changed it over from dedicated servers to Modern Warfare 2, had the same matchmaking Xbox, terrible,
that was really
feels bad, can't customize the game, has bad hosting, has so many more limits. I know we used to play on one server in COD 4 specifically where you could take a helicopter down with a single bullet because they just didn't want the helicopter in the game. which if you feel like playing with no helicopters, jump on their server. If you feel like playing a different way, jump on their server. And it was excellent. I apologize. By the time Black Ops came around, I'm just off the boat.
Yeah, so someone said I never actually played Modern Warfare 3, but apparently Modern Warfare 3 also had unranked servers. But it's like, I don't know. The server support and the customizability was also at a different level, I think.
I also liked how
I don't really
it was more simple. It was more of a Counter-Strike idea, in the manner that not everything exploded and not everything was fireworks and flying this, blowing up that, dogs, and there's just I remember when I was learning website design, I want to say in like 2000.
Everything was like flashy and blah.
But we were told not to Hollywood it in class. Our tech teacher made a very specific point of saying, do not flashy everywhere or you will lose marks. And keep it simple and simplistic. And that's something that COD 4 did, I think, the best. Just an unbelievable, very meticulous, very good gameplay. But I'm going to breathe for a second. I'm going to let Timmy talk.
So I like Call of Duty 4, but 2 was my favorite. You play 2 in veteran
2's
mode,
awesome.
where it was a one-shot kill, and if you could get through that campaign mode in veteran, you were the boss, because there were some parts where the Nazis were just cool. The trench warfare in that game is like, I went to bed at night like having nightmares about being in World War II. But I had to mute myself because I was laughing about the WoW stuff. So I was a day one WoW guy.
Awesome.
40-man raids. Doing the 5-mans where it's like, oh, I have 3 of the 4 pieces. Can I please join your guild?
Yeah.
They're like, nope, you have to go get the pants, right?
Yeah.
But I was a warrior back in those days, and that was when it was hard mode, man. There was no joking around. Like, you didn't just play for a little while and like, oh look, I have bull. It was like, oh my god, a blue.
Yeah. Getting. I remember when the first dude in our guild got full epics. Everyone just kind of like stood around and was like, whoa.
Well, the tank from Flying Hellfish, the top ranked guild on Kill Jaden, which was one, and I still probably is.
I think it is
one of the best North American servers. I forget his name.
Oh.
Regardless, he would sit in the bank in Orgrimmar when there was one bank and not 2 cities in one city. He would sit on the bank and people would just surround him because he had all the rare items, which were actually rare.
Yeah.
And he was the main tank and the guild leader of the top ranked guild, and it showed, which was awesome.
I know his name. I don't remember what it was.
It was back in the days when it was Might was the big the tier 1 set.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we always called it the when you started to get the tier 2 set, the Wrath set. You get all the warriors had the little crescent helmet, which was hysterical. But yeah, I think so. Back on topic, away from WoW, I guess.
Yes, good idea.
I'm really excited about the fact that they see what's happening, the corruption that's happening to their company, because when this is like Bungie is no longer a part of Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have a game studio above you that their only goal is to make money off of you, right? So you saw before where it may have taken Blizzard 10 years to release something. Like, they were working on World of Warcraft for as long as I can remember.
Yep.
So I feel like even though they took forever on like Diablo 3, that they would have never in that like micro transaction system if it had been just Blizzard.
Yep.
Right? That, to me, the whole auction house, you could use real money to buy things in the game, was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. Because I played that game for like 10 minutes and was like, I'm done. If I can buy it with real money, it's not a real game.
Yeah,
that drives me crazy as well.
But I still remember the heyday of like when the original StarCraft came out. Like, I still love that game. I still go back and play that game. It's like the graphics are horrible now, but the gameplay is just wicked.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw StarCraft before Brood War came out was at a buddy's house. Kind of the old story of he had a computer, and I think we had a computer back then, but it wasn't very strong. He had a new one. And he went and bought it from Costco or something like that. His mom bought it, but and we just played through the single player, and we took turns playing it. And I'm actually still friends with him. he is a volunteer firefighter at the same hall I'm at, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's where my first StarCraft experience that came from. We are gonna work on the leg here, guys.
I'm trying to figure it out. Keep going.
But and one of the big things, Timmy, I glad you. It kind of sounds like you came from the same roots in these games that Slick and I did. And one thing that's really exciting was seeing Blizzard on its own, as you were saying, they can make their own choices. Is with both of their new games coming out. It's huge now that they own themselves and they're going on this new path with new games. I just kind of want to find out what you think about that.
Yeah, I just think it's nice to see them go back to, I guess, what I felt like made them a successful company. And they're the classic story of like, hey, there's a Blizzard game coming out and everybody's really, 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 really excited for it, and they release like some 30-second rendered video, and then 5 years later the game comes out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we always used, you'd be like, Blizzard, and then when that game came out, one, the waiting made it even better, but two, you knew it was going to be good.
Exactly.
Even WoW, with all the technical difficulties they had in like the very early days, and even with the some of the bugs that were in there, it was still like mind-blowingly better than anything that had come out before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think they'll be able to go back to that. If it's the right thing to delay a shipment by 6 months so that they can finish something that they really want in the game, now they'll be able to do that again.
Exactly. And here's an interesting thing. They're going to make a Warcraft movie. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. And I work in the film industry here in Vancouver. Vancouver is signed up. Vancouver is going to be making, well, not Vancouver is going to be making, but they're going to be making the Warcraft movie in Vancouver. Everyone I work with is very excited. To be completely honest, not many of them play games. The reason they're excited is there's a ton of movies being made in Vancouver. I took the day off to do this stream. I work a ton. And they are projecting that is going to absolutely, without a doubt, be by a significant margin the highest budgeted movie ever created in Canada, which is pretty big. They call Vancouver California North. I think maybe we're third now, but I believe we're second in North America for producing movies and TV shows. So everyone's really excited about that because the budget's going to be huge. And one thing that I was explaining to them is if it is Blizzard running it, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I hope they didn't sell the rights or something like that, but if it is Blizzard controlling it, they will delay this movie until they have decided it is perfection. Which, you know what? If it takes years, I'm okay with that. Because like you said, it will be amazing, and it will be worth it.
Yep. I think we should probably stop talking about WoW now, because I think we've been talking about WoW for 15 minutes.
The chat has renamed this the WoW Show. So.
I think they've been renaming it the WoW Show for a little while. I think one of the editors at the Linus Media Group head office is uploading videos right now, which is, I think, maybe why we're lagging, for the people that are saying we're lagging. I'm trying to get in contact with him without screaming, because that would come through the mic terribly. But I've messaged him. He has not messaged back. Hopefully he responds, because I'm pretty sure he's uploading videos that he has finished rendering, and I'm pretty sure that's why we are continually dropping frames. So we are lagging, but yeah, I can't kick him off, unfortunately.
Maybe call him.
It's not multiple reasons that I can't do it though. Because I don't have my work account linked into this phone yet, so I don't have his phone number. Blah 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 blah. I could mute the mic. Not really, actually, because of how the new audio setup. Oh, yes, I can. No, I can't. Why is that?
You could unplug the snowball, but that could create a whole.
It's not the snowball. It's that mic that's picking.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, hopefully it stops. Hopefully the video we're definitely lagging. We're legitimately dropping frames. So there's frames that the video is recording that are not making it to you guys. So while it might not be too bad for certain people that probably have better connections, it's definitely dropping frames. I can mute. For someone who just said your audio setup is retarded if you can't mute. I agree. I can't mute because of the mixers on the other side, and I can't press the thing, and the reason why it's over there is because the power cord for the mixer is so ridiculously terrible and low quality. Anyways, we're going to move forward, if I can find this one. Back on the AMD graphics that we were talking about earlier. AMD graphics gets a massive performance increase in Linux 3.1. Point 2 more specifically, I believe. But this even freaked out and surprised the guys that work on the AMD driver for Linux. They were like, holy crap, is this actually real? If you can grab the PC Per article, basically there's not a lot to say about it, apparently. But like PC Per, I think this is one of the shortest articles I've seen on PC Per, because one thing I noticed that he likes to do is write the longest articles ever, but I guess this isn't by the main dude, so that makes sense. But basically, there's a 1 to 50% improvement in most games, and in some select few games, up to 90% improvement on graphics performance. Like, what the hell just happened?
So AMD's in the game, man.
Well, Linux kernel updates. It wasn't even AMD. That's the crazy part.
Oh.
The AMD driver guys were surprised. They were like, what the heck? They're super stoked because it's so much better. It was a kernel update. That was crazy. So in my mind, how this went down, no idea if this is how it actually worked. But in my mind, how this went down is Linus Torvalds was pissed at Nvidia. And then Nvidia's like, oh, we're going to come back now that DICE and Valve care about you. And he's basically like, he gave them the finger in a press conference and said
Sorry, gave who?
Linus Torvalds, the creator gave Nvidia the finger.
Really?
And this was a bit ago. Basically saying, because Nvidia is the hardest hardware manufacturer of any hardware manufacturer for them to work with.
Really?
Apparently. They just refuse to be helpful in any way. So Linus Torvalds gave them the finger, and they're like, yeah, they're incredibly difficult to work with, blah, 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 blah. They have an independent team that works on their driver, and like all this kind of, it's crazy. And then NVIDIA's like, oh, we're coming back because people care about you now. And then NVIDIA goes, oh, but we're going to take support away from the driver for like crazy amounts of monitors and make it 3 because we don't want to compete with Windows too much. So I think in my mind there must have been something going on behind the scenes. And Linus Torvalds was probably like, you know what, screw you.
Power
kernel update, boom. I hope there's something like that went down because this is awesome. What do you think about this, Timmy?
Well, the thing I think you hit the nail on the head there, because Nvidia didn't give a crap about Linux, right? And all of a sudden, the quote-unquote third console is coming out, right? Because Steambox, it's a PC, but let's call it the third console from a chip standpoint.
Sure.
And when they made that decision to go Linux, all of a sudden, NVIDIA decided to like, oh crap, we're going to have a third place that our cards and chips aren't going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the coup it would have been if only AMD would have worked that.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Right?
People were even worried at the start of the Steam Machine thing because all the pre-done specs for all the Steam Machines had NVIDIA cards. But nope, not only are they fully modular, so you can change it however you want, but Valve has already said that they will be shipping Steam Machines with AMD cards in them.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That right when it came out, everybody was like, "Oh my God, they're only NVIDIA cards," and immediately Valve comes out and goes, "No, that's just what we put in these 300 machines. Like, it's really okay."
Yeah.
So, that's awesome.
And then, it'll be interesting to see. But I think you're right. I think this is, somebody pissed somebody off, and somebody decided that they were going to show a certain company what happens when you piss him off.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's your company, if you are a huge piece of Linux, power to you. And I absolutely, you know what? If they're not cooperating with you, I try to be a nice guy. But if they're not giving you something, why should you? It's push pull.
and it's super exciting because gaming on Linux, to be completely honest, and I know there's going to be Linux lovers out there. I love Linux deep down. It's great. But honestly, guys, it wasn't that good. Gaming on Linux was not that good. We could whine whatever we wanted. Wine was this little application so you could run Windows programs and stuff, but it was mainly used for games. I used to try and run WoW through Wine, and we can do whatever we wanted, but it was really not that good. So it's nice that this kind of stuff is happening now because it's going to be the performance is going to be there, because one thing that Linux has always been known for is this beast performance because it's so lightweight. So if you get even more like this, it's just, that's awesome. With Steambox around the corner, Steam Machine, and all this other kind of stuff, DICE backing up Linux like crazy, Valve backing up Linux like crazy. This is good. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Windows, hopefully, he works for Microsoft. This is awkward. Windows hopefully takes note and pays little attention to what's going on. And we're going to switch topics because that just got really awkward. Anyways,
I will say one thing real quick. I know quite a few people that, like me personally, I'm going to try to get the Steam machine to run in a VT, right, in a virtual session.
Yep.
Because I don't want to, Windows is where most people do their productivity, right? I've used Adobe for Linux and it's junk, and I need Adobe on my PC, right? I just need that productivity software that does really well on the console that it's or on the platform that it's written for. The thing where, but at the same time, I don't want to have two PCs if I have to run, Linux and Windows to do work. I just have like a 30-foot HDMI cable that runs to my TV, and when I want to game with my Xbox controller, I just sit down and flip the input over to my TV. If I can do that and still be able to switch back and forth between Linux and Windows, I think everybody wins in reality, because it's going to drive PC sales, which is good for Microsoft. It's going to drive gaming, which is good for all of us.
Yeah.
And it helps an open platform that, realistically, guys, they don't make any money off of that open platform. I have friends that do OpenGL and OpenCL stuff, that could be making lots of money at Nvidia or AMD, and they just do it for fun. So
I used to try, now I was terrible, so I don't even know if I did anything constructive, but I used to try and help with the wine project. Mainly what I would do is testing, but yeah, like talking to some of the guys in there were some pretty high-end guys that worked for some pretty high-end companies and put in beastly amounts of time in their spare time trying to help work all this stuff. There's a lot of companies out there that aren't profitable really that put towards this open platform movement, so it's actually quite interesting that it's now likely to become much more mainstream. One other thing that I found really funny that's in here, actually, I wanted to touch on this, but I have no idea where this conversation is going to go. It wasn't in the guest topics, but I wanted to bring it up. Now, problems with journalism. Now, a hilarious reason why this is coming up right now is that I slightly screwed up earlier when we were talking about the Blizzard Free at Last. The title and what was in that post was a little bit confusing, so when I skimmed over it, I didn't properly read it. So it's more Activision that freed itself, not Blizzard specifically. It's more specifically Activision. Mm-hmm. So we're going to jump back to the next topic, which is hilariously the next topic, because it's about The Sun talking about Serif Industries, a company in Deus Ex, which made cybernetic implants. So if we jump to your screen, it's in the newspaper, and they're talking about cybernetic implants from Serif Industries. The best part is that it's printed on the thing in the picture, Serif. And if you Google it, it's very obviously from a game. But they start talking about Serif Industries. There's even... Well, yeah, this isn't the Sun's website.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and they're talking about how it's Serif Industries, a U.S. firm, blah, 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 has developed an eyeball implant, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not a super big article, but it's just kind of hilarious. It's in the Sun, but... Honestly,
it really shows what a joke news is today.
Yeah,
we're kind of getting to like personal beliefs right now, but I have strayed away from listening to the news because, I'd rather get my fiction from something like a Warcraft novel. Like if we look, like there was an article that came out saying in Toronto, started on some forum, what they did do, and I can't remember what level it was, but some sort of community soccer where kids just kind of show up and play. I'm not sure if it was at school or not, but they didn't keep score. That's totally cool. That's totally fine. And then an article came out saying on CBC, which if you live in Canada, that's kind of our government news network, saying that they took the ball away to make it, no one scores. It's like they're supposed to imagine that the ball is there. Not true, didn't happen, but someone wrote it on the internet and CBC said it was true. Another thing that happened, because Breaking Bad is really popular.
I thought the CBC thing was an elaborate troll by CBC.
Was it an elaborate troll? I heard they just reported it wrong.
Either way. Because
if it was an elaborate troll, CBC, you should not do that. You should not be trolling. Yeah. You are a nationwide news network.
I agree.
So if you are correct, shame on them still. There was another article that came right out of Vancouver, This was about 2 weeks ago. A RV was driving over one of the many bridges we have. It was on fire, and it was immediately reported on all the news networks that it was a meth lab on fire. Why? Because Breaking Bad just ended a week earlier. Guess what? Not a meth lab. Nothing to do with meth.
They stole the gas.
They stole gas. Not a meth lab.
Because gas is like expensive and worth a lot.
We are actually living in the most expensive city for gasoline or petrol.
The lower mainland has all 10 of the most expensive cities to buy gas in North America.
Yeah.
It's like,
thanks for the tax. But it's just, expensive. It just goes to say that news these days, my goodness.
Ridiculous. And like, we screwed up, but I don't think we screwed up as bad as that. I don't know. Either way. I just thought that was actually pretty hilarious. I had something else to say. Oh yeah, the sun is apparently just a joke. In general. Like, I read the comments on this article, and it was just ridiculous. And I talked to some people from where it's actually published, and they said, yeah, that magazine's just ridiculous. But how do these things exist? Like, you go to the grocery store, and you always see them on the rack as you're leaving. And it's like, 2 aliens found in the desert dissected, and we're going to die in 2 days. And it's like, how does that newspaper
Even if you look, I'm going to switch back. Even if you look at this article that you can see pictured, it's talking something about its vehicle uses lasers, Google Maps, satellites, complex algorithms, and a tremendous amount of data, 750 megabytes per second, to navigate the road ahead.
Well, and the next one is Star Trek Tricorder, so...
Yeah. So, this whole article is...
But how do these how are they still around?
I don't... There's so many things.
But like the tabloidy magazines that you see in the marketplace that everyone knows are just completely bullshit. How is that still a thing?
Miley Cyrus makes music. We'll never know. We'll never know how things work out.
I don't even mind her song that much. The music video is just ridiculous.
You know what? The song's not even bad.
Segue.
Until the chorus I don't like. Like the wrecking ball part,
really
but the leading up, she's actually a talented singer, and there's an amazing clip that you can find. I won't go bring it up; you can go search for it yourself. But Miley Cyrus is a good-looking lady. Besides when she cuts her hair and sticks her tongue out and does all these crazy things, and there's a clip going. She says, "I love when I watch videos of a celebrity." She's saying this, and you go, "What? You know what? You used to be so beautiful. What did you do to yourself?" And you're just like,
oh damn!
You know the Rage comics where the face goes like way out of it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do right now.
Shots fired. Alright, so now, next topic, which, again, we do a topic, and then we talk about AMD. Then we do a topic, then we talk about AMD. So we're going to talk about AMD again. AMD swings a profit in Q3 of $48 million. Now this might, if you're looking at like the scale of how big this company is, that might not seem that ridiculous. But they haven't been swinging profits for kind of a long time. So it's really nice to see them back in the game. We've seen a lot of news this week about them being back in the game. So it's kind of awesome to see them pulling a profit. Because the more they actually pull a profit, instead of you losing all the millions ever, like they've been doing for a long time, they can actually start getting more money into that R&D. They can start getting more money into the CPU side, the GPU side, everything.
I'm interested to see what Timmy thinks about this one.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I think as a AMD stockholder is that good God, they lost 56 cents a share today.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, almost 14% down. This is one of those things where like everybody's like, oh my God, the world is ending, PCs are dying, right? Nobody's buying PCs anymore. But 10 years ago, how many people did you know that had a 5-year-old PC? Like almost nobody. Now, how many people, how many do you know that have a 5-year-old PC? Like everybody I know that's not me almost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're not doing rendering or hardcore gaming, there's, your XP system's probably still just fine for your email and playing Pogo on the internet, right? So I think the problem with analysts in this situation is that they're looking at where's the PC market in, 10 years? Well, if video games are easier to port to the PC and make look better, and the Steam the Steam OS comes out, and you get all this stuff where, you can see the trend right now is people are shifting back from consoles to the PC.
Yeah.
And I think, the fact that I was reading one of the articles on this where they were saying it was like 2 quarters earlier than they thought that they were going to make a profit again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were projecting like Q1 of next year to make a profit, basically when all the consoles start selling. Right.
Yep.
So I think some of this 48 million is because of the consoles that have already been made.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I think that's some of it, but long term, I think, especially from, you know, the value that you get from their product, I don't think they're going away, and I think they're just going to keep kind of shifting to be more profitable. I think they're headed back in the right direction.
And one thing that I want to segue out of what you just said actually is the whole thing with PC gaming not necessarily going away, it's just people aren't upgrading as fast, is the graphic that is on screen right now that was actually put up by Nvidia. I know we're talking about AMD right now, but who cares? We're fans of both. And this is interesting. Now, I don't know if all these specs are PC gaming by itself because they bring up stuff like Call of Duty, or if that's all of it. I don't remember the numbers for Call of Duty, but I think that might be all of Call of Duty, not just the PC side. But they're showing, like, the 2013 Stanley Cup Final got 8.2 million viewers. The 2012 LOL Championship got 8.3 million viewers. Is that supposed to be the 2013 LOL Championship? It's NVIDIA graphics. So what it says on the NVIDIA graphic is the 2012 LOL Championship.
2013 was pretty recent.
Yeah.
So they might not have the numbers on that. I'm not... Well, actually, no, they probably do. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when...
Either way, like a PC gaming tournament beat out the 2013 Stanley Cup Final.
And League has only grown. So you would
And
imagine
it's
that
probably only
2013
going to
is
grow.
higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's monstrous.
And the
Virtual good
NFL
sales more than NFL revenue.
NFL is huge and an amazing industry in the States. If you don't know much about the NFL, you don't even have to know about sports. They actually run on a socialist ideal. They share money amongst teams. That's why they're so incredibly successful as opposed to MLB, which always has the same teams winning, essentially. You know what I mean? It's always New York. It just has too much money. And but NFL revenue, $9.5 billion. Virtual goods, $15
billion.
$15 billion.
Just ridiculous.
Unreal.
Hours played, Q1 2013, 13.5 billion for just the top 20 games. Netflix was 4 billion.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
That was the one that I was going to say, out of all of these, that was the number that made me go like, whoa.
The 13.5 billion hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Because everybody I know watches Netflix.
Yeah, me too. And, like, we'll idle it quite often and just have it in the background or whatever. So, like, that's insane. So all the people that think PC gaming is dying, check out this little graphic.
I have never... People jump on the dying boat so quickly.
Yeah.
I have never been on it. I have never thought PC game was dying truly. Because we get a lot of the games that the console gamers get. You know, they make them for all titles. And we get so many games that are to our own. Like, we're going to jump back to it for a second. But I'm just doing it for the numbers. World of Warcraft's not mentioned on here. What is the revenue for that game over the past decade?
Monstrous.
Oh my goodness. I don't even want to throw a number because it'd be too small.
Someone in the chat just said 13.5 billion hours. Filthy casuals. Yes. I do agree. You're navigating away and you're on screen.
Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah. So so PC gaming in my mind hasn't necessarily died, but it did kind of dwindle for a bit. Xbox 360 and PS3 reigned pretty hard there for a while.
It's true.
But we're getting out of that swing, and PC gaming is back, baby. Unlike that guy, because he didn't really come back properly. But I think PC gaming came back properly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think, if you eventually see, they have developer connects for PC, right? But you can't really play games with those. I think if you saw something like the Kinect come out for the PC as well, or the Steam Box or whatever, that you would see those casual gamers starting to say, why do I need a console when my PC can actually do everything I want it to do?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think there's going to be... I think new things are going to drive a lot of hype for PC gaming as well. Like, we've seen stuff like Oculus Rift. I know that's definitely not as mass consumer friendly as, say, a Kinect. By mass consumer friendly, I mean the random people aren't going to go to a store and be like, oh, what should I buy for my kid? I'm going to buy him an Oculus Rift. I don't think that's going to happen quite yet because it's a little bit more hardcore. A Kinect you can put up in your room and it's a family room or whatever, and it's a very casual situation. So it's going to be open to more people that way. But if you're a gamer, a pretty hardcore gamer and you've been on console for a while, but you liked PC in the past, and you want to try something new, you're probably going to go for PC and an Oculus Rift.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think, like, not necessarily just games, just big MMOs and stuff that can only be released on a PC are going to be what's going to drive stuff onto PC. Obviously, MOBAs right now is happening.
Huge.
Is helping.
Everyone's making
degrees.
one. At PAX,
Yeah.
you know, they must have been, what, 3 MOBAs
Strife,
that really...
League, Smite, Blizzard's new thing.
What's the one with...
Heroes of New Earth.
There was one right beside us at
superhero
PC.
ones.
Yeah, the superhero one that had Axelaff and Axel Toss casting.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it was called, which is...
So
it was like
many.
DC Heroes or something.
Something.
Yeah.
I was just there to meet them and get their signature. I wasn't really sure what the MOBA was about, but I definitely wanted to meet both those guys.
Apparently, me cracking my neck hurt people's ears.
Oh, really? Sure as you, I've done a couple good pops.
Oops.
Probably both have.
I just went, yeah.
Oh, did
I just
you?
went for a go. Maybe it might have been you actually. I
Now,
don't
what
know.
we were talking about with the Oculus Rift and, oh shoot, help me for 1 second.
Oculus Rift, PC,
The Xbox
Connect.
Kinect.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
I don't know why that happened.
We got there.
But something I've said since the beginning of the Kinect and the Oculus Rift, I'm going to make myself unpopular for a second, hopefully just for a second. But I am not hugely into that technology yet, but I'm extraordinarily excited to see where it's going to go.
Version 2 or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got an Oculus Rift coming. I have a dev kit. It should be coming this month.
They're cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like, oh my god, all I want to do today is go play my Oculus. I'm not really there yet, and the Kinect isn't really...
I am.
A lot of people are.
Oculus Rift.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to make myself a little bit unpopular. There might be some people that agree with me, and if you're on the boat right now, that's awesome. I support you. But I'm not necessarily totally jumping into the pool yet. But I'm really excited to see where it's going to go, because it is only going to develop exponentially.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you.
Did you guys?
No, go for it.
Did you guys check out? Well, Linus did that video on the Omni, right?
Yep.
That thing is cool.
That's really cool.
You know, the fact that you have like positioning and the Oculus Rift, and you can run and jump and turn, you know, with an actual, you know, gun that's basically your controller that's using tracking to know where you're pointing. My only comment was, does it come in 3XL? But
I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah, no, I actually, when we went to go test it, I don't know if you saw this footage, but I tried it out too, and it at that point in time was not in 3XL. If we can say it was not tall enough actually. My waist was too high and my feet were too big, so I had to go with, I think I was in my socks, or no, they found shoes that fit me if I wore them as if I was a rock climber. So my toes were like that in the end, which was terrible. And then it was too high, so I couldn't wear the belt. So I was trying to go around in the Omni while just like holding onto it with my hand to support myself.
That's a different topic. I don't want to include that in what I was saying because that is really, if I could play that every day, I probably would. But that's not something
problems, though.
Everyone can put in their living room.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. It's one of the problems with that is it's too big. So it has the adaptation problem that Oculus Rift does, but in a different way. Oculus Rift is quite hardcore. Omni is still really hardcore, but at least you're open area, which automatically makes things a little bit more easy to adopt. But it's big and it's not really collapsible, so you need kind of a dedicated area for it to go, which is interesting.
Someone wants to know what size your shoes are. What are they, 13s?
13.
13s?
Yeah, they're not like monstrous, but when in like the kit that they brought to our meeting, they didn't have any in there yet. I'm like 99.9% sure you can get shoes big enough for me and bigger now, but they only had like 3 different kinds of shoes there.
13 is though.
They have sandals for Lions.
Do they have sandals for Linus?
I don't think they did actually. I can't remember what they
have
had
built-in socks with sandals. Built-in.
Built-in.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Specially developed.
What
Sebastian
was it?
sandals. That's what they're called.
He had Converse. They had Converse shoes for Linus, and Converse was like, "Wow, this isn't even a company anymore. Where do you find these?" And I was like, "Wow, I'm not up on fashion, but you have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah, Converse is definitely, definitely a thing.
I was like, "I don't often go out. You actually just don't go out at all." Like, jeez, man. Oh, jeez. Okay, so give me 1 sec, and I think we can jump into the other topic, unless one of you guys have more to say.
I'm pretty good.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm
what do
good
we
too.
have now? Nexus 5 leaked on the Play Store. There isn't a ton of information about this, but it's back soon for the WAN show.
Just the title.
I could change that.
Not a huge
But
deal.
it's probably too late now. Nexus 5 leaked on the WAN show. We're going to jump to Richard's screen right now.
I'm ColdSC, thank you.
ColdSC screen right now. My bad. Interesting, but
It looks really cool.
there's not really a lot of information. We've already seen, like, the only thing that I really got from this was the fact that it was $349.
I think that's kind of the main piece of information to get.
Yeah,
You know.
because there's been better photos leaked already.
Yeah.
I've seen better photos of this leaked already. There was photos leaked with TELUS logo on it, which was just, I was like, what? Really? Oh, okay.
Kind of weird.
Because they're like only here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Only on PC.
But yeah, there's photos leaked with TELUS's logo all over it, which was kind of funny. Linus is tweeting things to me. Why doesn't he text me or something? What a silly man. Give me 1 second.
Oh.
I can't find it because there's so many tweets from other people.
But yeah, it looks really cool. The thing is, they're going to have a lot of competition. There's so many cool phones coming out, and I know you guys should be releasing a Note 3 video pretty quickly, which is going to be a very interesting phone. So the competition in phones right now is incredible. Things like CyanogenMod coming out and trying to develop into something that's one click.
I'm going to pause you for 1 quick second. Everyone tweet at SlickPC and 1 second. And at TimmyTechTV and at ColdSC, all in one big thing, with questions for TimmyTechTV. I forgot to do a Twitter Blitz. We'll be doing a Twitter Blitz soon. So tweet them questions and keep going. You're talking about CyanogenMod?
I'm just saying it's a really interesting era for phones right now. Tech right now is awesome because I felt like it was a little dry there maybe for a bit. But with the video cards that are coming out, AMD's stepping up, Nvidia's having to step up their game. The new consoles are going to come out, which is going to exponentially make PC games better, which is why I'm excited for the consoles to come out. You've got the Steam box coming out, all this different phones. Like the Note 3 is coming out, looks amazing. This new Nexus phone is coming out. You know, it's a really good time to be around in technology.
Yeah, for sure. And like 4.4 is going to be coming with this phone as well.
See, that's awesome. 4.4 is awesome. I'm actually more excited for CyanogenMod to become something that is easier to implement.
Yeah, but then CyanogenMod will get 4.4 too.
Oh no,
Because
yes,
built
exactly.
off of-
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
discredit that part of it. But yeah, exactly.
One interesting thing that they stated was capture the everyday and the epic in fresh new ways. Now, I might have missed some leaks or something, but I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that. Now, the people saying Linus tweeted me something about a 290X. I checked his Twitter. I don't see anything from him. I'm not entirely sure what you guys are talking about. I would expect more Nvidia-styled tweets.
Well, do we
yeah.
want to do
I
Twitter
don't see
Blitz?
anything. We can jump into the Twitter Blitz now. That makes a lot of sense. Let's refresh
Sounds
this. Alright, so these questions are directed at Timmy. If I can... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Whoop. There we go.
No idea.
Oh,
Don't
jeez.
play it.
Well, apparently we've got comments so far.
Best phone for under $450 unlocked.
Other than the Nexus 5.
I don't know the buyout prices. I'm not very good at that.
I don't know the buyout prices either, actually.
Yeah, I think the Mega might be around that price with the buyout because it's pretty cheap. So if you're looking for a big phone,
Yeah, I actually held one the other day. It's insane. Personally, I think the Note 2 is a little too big. The Note 3 is a little bit smaller, which is awesome. The Mega...
This is monstrous.
What? Like, it makes the Note 2 look like my S3. Like, when you compare the Note 2 and S3 side by side, that's the same, maybe, fraction of difference. I'm failing on my vocabulary right now.
Scaling up?
But exactly, the scale
Scale was the same.
between the Mega and and my the Note 2. It's kind of the same difference there. It's the Mega is
That
ridiculous.
thing must be giant. I've never actually seen one in real life.
It's ridiculous.
But it's basically a tablet
So
with the SIM card that you can call.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a Galaxy 7-inch, the the tablet without the SIM, and it's the same size as that. I mean, it's not 7 inches exactly, but it's like the same size. So it's ridiculous.
This article is saying 6.3.
Yeah,
Wow.
It seems huge.
Yeah, and honestly, the screen isn't, because it's so huge. I only used it for a second in the store. It's not as if I reviewed it. I wasn't overly impressed with the screen.
No?
Yeah, no, I didn't. The tablets, the 199 tablets look better to me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's interesting.
I'm going to go on something a little left field here. I could be completely wrong, so please, Timmy, correct me or yourself, Slick. Was not the Mega released in Asia first and then brought over here significantly later and not upgraded?
Yeah, see, I thought it was released in South Korea and Japan.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think.
When I was in Korea, a lot of people had large form factor phones.
Right.
Notes were really popular.
Right. I could be completely wrong about that. Maybe we'll get a tweet or something, but
I think you're right.
Yeah, it was released overseas first, Japan, Korea, and not upgraded and then brought here significantly later. And in phone time, phone time is so much worse than dog years. Phone years, 1 year in a phone year might as well be 30 human years, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So I got one here.
Sure.
They were asking about any higher than 1080p monitors with DisplayPort for under $400. If you're going to go under 400, depends on the size. Obviously, you're only probably going to see that in something like a 27 or a 30-inch. Where I buy my monitors from is Monoprice, because you can get, basically they take like LG and Samsung panels that don't pass all the quality tests, rebrand them as Monoprice monitors, remove whatever features failed the quality test, and then sell them for like half the price.
Interesting.
So
It's actually
I
pretty
bought
cool.
my 27-inch Monoprice monitor was like $349, and it's a 1440p IPS.
Monoprice is a really, really interesting company.
That's really cool.
And so I buy all my cables and everything through Monoprice. So they will say that these are, second party basically panels, right? I mean, they're getting them, they're failing quality tests, and they're taking features away from them. They don't shy away from that. They're like, hey, if you can do without like these two features, then, save half price basically.
Right.
And they're brand new. They have full Monoprice warranties, and they're brand new. It's not like they were returned or they're second hand. It's just that they're not good enough for whatever model, Samsung or whatever model. Most of them are LG monitors. I love mine. No dead pixels. No backlight bleed. For what I paid for it, I can complain at all.
Yeah, we've got a new question on screen. So, how do you feel about Nvidia's reveal of the GTX 780 Ti? Targeted at you, Jimmy.
Yeah, personally, I don't like the TI monikers myself. It seems like they originally, titanium. It seems like they originally created the TI moniker so that they could, like I said earlier, so that they could rebrand something that they were holding off on in reaction to something that AMD does, right? Because you don't really see a lot of AMD doing that. You might now, though, because you notice they have the X and the non-X moniker.
Yeah.
So we might start seeing that from AMD as well. But it just makes it hard, as a consumer. Like, oh, well, what's different? Why is it different? How much better is the performance, price per dollar? If it makes 780 go down in price and it's roughly a titanium with less RAM for $700, I'll be doing backflips to Newegg or Amazon to buy one.
Oh, Titan. If it's roughly a Titan with less RAM. Is that what you meant?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, a Titan.
That's cool. It's interesting, and I kind of agree with the TI moniker thing. but with a slightly different angle. I've always kind of understood the benchmarks because I've been running them for a long time. But from someone from the outside of it, I've seen people comment like, okay, well, is a 660 Ti better than a 670? Like, without looking at the benchmarks, they're like, what is this Ti thing? What does it actually mean? In what way is it actually better? They're not looking into the deep specs of it. They're not going out and actually figuring out what's different. They're going like, what am I supposed to buy? Why is there all these different revisions of different things? Now, to me, it's a little bit more simple than that. I don't think it's actually that complicated in the naming convention, but it's very likely to do with what you're talking about, which is where it's very likely just, oh, we made this thing, but we kind of need to push it out now, so let's just kind of change the name and push it out, and then we'll deal with other stuff later. So let's move on. Where is the screen right now? Up a little bit. There we go. The guy's asking, is it worth it for him to get rid of his 1280 by 1024 monitors and get a 1440p one, or keep my monitors and SLI on my 660? What do you think, Timmy?
Kind of.
I don't think you want to SLI a 660 right now. I would say depending on what you do with it. For me, 1440p. So I don't actually game in 1440p because my main machine has a GTX 670, and I don't like BioShock Infinite at 1440p on my card is like 23 frames a second, and that's not a situation I like to game in. I don't like watching, and you see the tear and stuff, just like it's really bad, especially the tear. So I tend to flip my panel between the 1440 and the 1080, depending on what I'm doing. What I really use the 1440 for is especially when I'm editing videos, the more real estate you can get for work related things, the better off you are. So that's what, I would say 1440, if you're going to go over 27 inches, I think 1440 is important, but you have to have the video card to drive it.
Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind too is with his current setup, maybe not SLIing the 660, but maybe if you vendor the 660, sell it on eBay or something like that, and then upgrade your card directly, get an actual GPU replacement, maybe go up to 700 series or something like that. Not a terrible idea. Scrolling down a little bit.
I actually, I've seen Linus recommend that before in the past too. Don't SLI a generation old card if you're going to have to buy a new one to do it, or even a used one, right? I mean, look at how much you could make from selling your card and that you would be paying for the new card. Take that performance benchmarks that are all over the place, right? And look at the new performance benchmarks, and I bet you could probably buy a 760 or 770 for the same price.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea. Now, this guy's tweet, not directly going after Timmy, but I just wanted to bring this up. Vivendi owned Blizzard before WoW. The problem is Activision, not Vivendi. You guys are mixing stuff up. Yep, noticed that in the article. It's just how it was worded. I read it wrong. It was just a little bit confusing. Sorry about that. We figured that out. Moving on. Now you've kind of already.
I will say though, I will say in some aspect though, Blizzard still made good games after the Activision merger.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not have been as good as they were when Blizzard was just off by itself. But Vivendi, as a multinational, huge distributor, you can see the companies that have gone under them fail horribly. So I think I'm just more happy. I would rather Activision went back to being Activision by itself, to be honest with you. But
that would be awesome.
I felt like produced better games before they took over Blizzard.
I feel like everything was just better when they were just apart. Now we've got a tweet that's not on screen, but it says, with overclocking, could a regular 780 surpass a 780 Ti?
It might be at the top. Oh.
Who knows?
Yeah, I was letting you take that one because I'm trying to have this Twitter blitz focused on you. But we know absolutely nothing about this card. We know it is a thing. We've seen
it's a thing. So I guess here's what I would say. If you're doing 1080p gaming or 1440p gaming, could a 780 beat a Titan? They get pretty close in 1080p gaming because what you're getting with the Titan is that extra RAM, right?
Yeah.
more than anything. I mean, you get a few more CUDA cores and a little bit more of an overclock, but
And an awesome name.
you know, yeah, and an awesome name exactly.
Just saying.
It's
Well,
actually
my
one
joke-
of... Sorry.
I was gonna say my joke a while ago was if the 290X is really the quote unquote Titan killer, they should call it like Zeus or something because the Olympians killed the Titans, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That would be awesome.
I loved Greek mythology.
Oh, they should have done that.
That would be cool. Called the Zeus card.
They should have done that.
That would have been awesome.
That was okay. They missed a huge possible marketing ploy with the not doing 9,000.
the Titan killers.
Because everything would have been over 9,000. So they missed a huge over 9,000 marketing thing, and then they missed the Titan killers thing with Zeus. Man.
The Titans were supposed to be more powerful.
Jeez. Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys.
And then that would have just played in. Oh man, good point,
Yeah.
Timmy. That would have played in so well. Someone saying Timmy was a good guest. If I can scroll up here a little bit. Sorry. Timmy is a good guest. Subscribed, so that's cool.
Cool.
He went to PAX, so that automatically.
He went to PAX and
means
he
he's cool.
enabled a large part of the team to go to PAX as well, which is
Yeah.
really helpful. Dun.
Yeah, somehow they escaped basement though when I wasn't paying attention. So
There's two questions here. One, how do you think AMD's true audio will compare to sound cards and onboard sound?
I think an important thing to remember is true audio is only going to be on. I think it was the 260X and the 290X. Is that right?
I don't remember the exact cards, but it's only
It's
two,
only
I
on
think.
2 cards. It's
Yeah.
not on all of them. So, gonna be better than onboard audio in my opinion, for sure. The question is, will there be like mantle-ish components, API level stuff that game developers can hook into, and how well will that be adopted? It's just like the Nvidia G-Sync stuff, right? It's how well adopted is it going to be? Are developers going to develop for it, or is it just going to be this thing where like AMD pays, DICE or somebody to implement this technology like Nvidia does for physics, right?
Right.
Yeah,
But I think it.
Sorry, keep going.
I was going to say, versus discrete cards, hard to tell because those discrete cards are very focused at, just doing audio codecs really well.
Yeah. One thing too is that it's not a DAC. So
Right.
you're going to have some interesting things there, but then it has interesting stuff that sound cards can't really do, which is where it plays into like more the physics of what's going on in the game, and it can be more dynamic. So I don't necessarily think it will. It's a huge part of the problem. Again, we're talking about stuff that's not like we haven't touched it yet. We've done that a few times this stream, but I don't necessarily think that it will sound better. Like I don't think the quality of the sound will necessarily be increased, but I'm expecting what you hear to be more accurate. Not.
Yeah, I was going to say
Sorry, keep going.
spatial awareness should be much better.
Yeah, but then the quality of the sound of the spatial awareness, not necessarily gonna be much better. Moving on in the Twitter topics. No poke today, so.
It's true. You avoided it.
We have no idea when the 800 series is gonna come out.
You rolled your dodge dice.
I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. Why is there so little DisplayPort monitors on the market?
Oh, DisplayPort. I think what really killed DisplayPort was the fact that when HDMI 1.4 came out, and supposedly HDMI 2 is coming soon-ish, right? I think the bandwidth on HDMI is getting enough to where it's hard to justify for like a TV to go to DisplayPort because it's not a standard. There's not really like, does your TiVo need a DisplayPort out on it? No, right? Does your DVD player need a DisplayPort out? And most of the panel manufacturers now are also TV manufacturers.
Yep.
So you tend to see most monitors anymore have an HDMI connection and a DVI connection, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a cost thing. I know why. Well, I was gonna say the reason that video cards come with DVI connections is they're smaller than or DVI DisplayPort connections is. They're smaller than DVI. So if you want to fit 4 connections on the back of a video card, you're never going to do it with 4 DVI connections. So they had to go to a standard, right? They had to go to a standard that's smaller, but that you could put an adapter on that can go from DisplayPort to DVI and not have to worry about not being able to do like 1440.
Yeah, and like you brought up, a lot of the manufacturers for monitors are also making TVs, so that's a really good, really big point. But to kind of play devil's advocate, DisplayPort's not super strong right now. I use it, but it's not very common. I like it a lot, actually. I love the connector. The connector is so solid. But we're starting to see it a little bit more, like the 279Q, PA279Q from Asus beast monitor that we have downstairs. You should be running that on DisplayPort. And then the new Nvidia thing, what is it, Q-Sync? It's called Q-Sync, right?
Yeah.
G-Sync, sorry. That, I
G-Sync.
believe, has to be run over DisplayPort.
Yep.
Yeah, so like...
I thought that's what they said, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what they said. I don't fully remember, but it's very new news. But I'm pretty sure that's what they said. So DisplayPort is a thing, and will hopefully keep growing because I love it. But it's definitely not too big of a thing.
I will say, anybody that has something with a mini HDMI port on it, like every time I have to plug in an external monitor to my Asus Ultrabook, I want to kill myself because it's a mini HDMI and not a mini DVI, or DisplayPort, excuse me. Because the mini DisplayPort, when you plug it in, it locks, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, it like stays solidly seated. The HDMI, you plug it in, and it's just like, I lose my connection if I if
you move it all
my laptop up, an eighth of an inch, So the connector is the big thing for me. I wish that, personally, my personal feelings is I wish HDMI would just die, and we could all go to DisplayPort so that we got actual connectors that locked in.
It's aggressive, but I agree.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta take a stance.
Yeah. Just kill it off. Bring it out to the field. Give it to the farmer.
Office Space, or am I showing my age?
Office Space.
Office Space. Take the photocopier out, play some good rap music.
Yeah.
Wear some crappy ties and beat it up.
Opinions on the HTC One Max. What do you think?
So I will admit that I am very new to any Android devices at all.
Okay.
I know my main phone is actually an Apple 4S, just because I'm not out of contract yet and I can't buy it. Hey, no, the Note 3. I actually went into the store the other day and I'm like, when does my contract come up? Because I have to buy a Note 3.
Note 3s.
They were like, 4 months, and I'm like, no, but,
no.
They'll usually let you out a month early for free just to get you back.
Yeah.
So maybe 3.
But so the actual only Android device I own is my tablet.
Right. Okay. We can move on from that then.
I'm excited for the HTC One Max. I think the HTC One is a great phone. I think I've always liked HTC personally, and I really think with the One series, they're really hitting their stride, and I'm excited for it. There's my little answer. I love phones. That's one thing I'm definitely into. But Timmy, you were saying you want to wait for the Note 3. Man, I think the Note 3 is going to be possibly the best phone the planet has seen, and could be that for a while.
The planet has ever seen.
And obviously, Kate, because it's the newest phone, right? It gives a big advantage. But they really improved on some things. The Note 2 was a solid phone, but I really think they improved on quite a few things. We'll obviously have to see once it's circulated and used how it goes. But just because it's big, the battery life is incredible. The S Pen features are great, so pretty excited.
Yeah, no, I played with one and I love the thing. So
yeah. Moving on, one quick thing that I'm going to cover really quickly and then we'll jump right off is $215 a good deal for a pair of Bare Dynamic Custom 1 Pros. I got these for cheaper. I don't know, but mine were cheaper, so I don't think it's that spectacular. Moving on to one that I forgot to put in the WAN show doc, but I had seen this. Mike__F, thank you for reminding me. Halo 3 free to play on Xbox Gold. That has become a thing. I think it was Bungie tweeted about it.
Really?
That's actually
that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Mr. Mike_F tweets a lot. Actually, it's got a lot of good stuff. But that's really interesting. Halo 2 was the glory days for Halo with me.
Yeah, me too.
But
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
awesome. That's just random, really cool.
Yeah, so if you have an Xbox and you have Xbox Gold,
You feel like playing some Halo 3.
go grab some Halo 3. It's free. So that's actually...
Well, the other thing too, I mean, keep in mind that Destiny is coming,
Yep.
Yep.
and Halo 3 was the last Halo game that Bungie Studios made.
That
Yes.
actually, yeah, that makes
Yep.
so much... I didn't think about the Destiny's
Yep.
coming thing. That makes so much more sense.
I watched the trailer for that today.
So it's like, hey, we're still here.
Don't forget about us. We made this game that you guys liked.
Yeah.
A little bit of nostalgia. Go play it for a little bit so you remember us.
Yeah.
So you buy this new game.
Bungie's a great studio. I'm really excited.
Dongers will not be raised tonight. I'm gonna fly by that. Timmy, I'm looking hard at the EVGA Hadron Air. Any thoughts, input, or updates would be awesome.
I'm
So
excited to hear this.
I actually have one,
Ooh.
which I've completely dismantled.
We don't.
I can send you mine, but it's I took all the rivets out of it and took it apart.
That would be better.
So I'm actually sending it to get sandblasted and repainted. I like it so much.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I'm really I'm kind of like Linus with cases sometimes, which is like, it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world, but it really has to like be consistent. So there is some spots on it that, like, on the interior of the case is painted black, but some spots aren't, because in the next version that's coming out of the Hadron, there's a water reservoir there.
Oh.
So because there is a Hadron water one coming, there's some
Interesting.
photos out there on it. But the only thing that really scares me about it is the airflow. There's no filters on the case anywhere. So it's just going to be a dust magnet, which is why I actually took it all apart so that I can put some fine mesh in it. And I'm also going to add a little bit of like a fan to the front. So it has 2 exhaust fans on the top, which you could flip around and make intake fans if you wanted to. Which is actually what I would recommend, because you could flip them around, make them intake fans, even though it's not optimal, and then get like, a mesh filter put on top of them, and then put the top back on it.
Yeah.
And then at least you would have some kind of protection, and you would at that point you would have a pressure in the case that would push out all of the normally quote unquote intake holes, and so it wouldn't be as dusty. But I think, to be honest with you, even with its shortfalls, it's one of my favorite ITX cases I've ever seen.
Should probably post that build log once he's done on the forum.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
should
no,
do
it's
that.
up there.
Nice.
It's like Hadron Teardown or something.
I had a feeling I had maybe seen it before, but I wasn't entirely
Yeah.
sure. But that's
So,
awesome.
but it is like the perfect size for an ITX case.
Well, that's really interesting, because speaking of like Steam machines and all that kind of stuff coming out now,
Yeah.
I've been talking to you a little bit about how I'm thinking about doing a build refresh. What I want to do my build refresh for is Haswell E.
Okay.
So I get DDR4, Haswell E, and then I'm going to aim around, because I'm aiming for that, I'm probably going to be going in on Maxwell, but then, I don't know, maybe AMD will have some answer at that point in time, or Maxwell won't be that impressive, and then I'll get a 290X. We'll see how it goes, but I'm waiting for Haswell E. So whatever graphics card is winning at that point in time, I'll go with that.
Okay.
But that means I'm probably retiring my 2600K.
Yeah.
Because I'm moving to 2011. Now what I want to do is take a 2600K, go ITX, and build a Steam machine out of it. Because I'm so not done with that processor. I love that processor. So
That would be cool.
the Hadron case.
Wow.
Because I wasn't
Yep,
sold on a
that's-
case yet.
Yeah, just it's the airflow, the filtering is the only real issue I have with it. It's pretty slick little case, and it mods really easy. I mean, you can, like, if you just wanted to say take out the drive cage and Velcro in some SSDs or something, there's a few rivets you have to drill out, but they're all aluminum.
Yeah,
It goes
yeah.
fast.
And that's probably what I would do, to be honest, because especially with the Steam machine implementation, I'll have all my big games stored on my main computer, and I'll just stream them from my main computer. So I won't need a lot of storage. So I'll just have a smaller, it doesn't even have to be that big, especially with Linux, smaller SSD, and that's probably all I'll run.
Yeah, and this is, I would say, if people are familiar with the Fractal 304, the Node 304, if you lay the hadron on its side, it's wider, but it's not as tall. So it depends on where you're going to use it, I guess. Because I really like the Node 304 as well.
Yeah,
but it has
sure.
the same problem. It has no airflow, right? I mean, it has some, but not much.
Yeah, definitely. And just all this stuff with ITX getting big right now, it's awesome that they're getting into the market. And I think it was smart for them to start with this case. I think that was really smart because of all the ITX stuff going on right now. It's just brilliant. Dun, 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 dun. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to find another tweet for us to go over.
Timmy, remind people where they can find you. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, yes. So Twitter is @TechTV.
You have a YouTube as well, right?
Yes, the YouTube's is youtube.com/TimmyTechTV.
And so you just call it his Twitter and his YouTube, right?
Yep.
So one thing I've noticed about Timmy's Twitter is that he actually replies to everything. I tried to do that as much as I possibly could when I first started my Twitter, but it's a little bit insane right now. So if you
can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
Sorry, no. Finish your point. I apologize.
I can't now.
because of the last show I went on, I almost doubled followers. I went up to 500 something, which is awesome. And I had a bunch of tweets saying like, "You did well," and and I want to reply to all of them, but I'm a little torn. I see every single one of them. I favorite most of them. I'm torn because I don't want to reply to every single one and say thank you. And then the next guy go on his Twitter and he has to go through ColdSC saying thank you 20 times, right? But I do try to reply. It's an interesting balance act, and I kind of want to ask Timmy how he does balance it, because I absolutely appreciate everyone who follows me, and if you tweet at me, I see it 100%. You know what I mean? I don't have the 16,000 that you do. You know what I mean? I
still look at all of them. I just don't necessarily reply or favorite. I look at every single tweet that's sent to me.
Yeah, it's just I wasn't trying to say you just discard them.
Yeah. So I'm the same way. I read them all for sure. I try to reply to a lot of them. I was so excited today. I was like, "Gonna be on the WAN show. Gonna be on the WAN show. Gonna be on the WAN show." And somebody was finally like, "Okay, we get it." It's like, but this is where I actually told somebody today. I wish that you instead, there's like the private feature, but I wish you could direct tweets at. So you could say like, don't show this in everybody's feed, but if
absolutely.
they come look at me, if they come look at my personal page, they would see it, but don't broadcast it to their personal page, right? Their feed. But let me reply to the person that just asked me.
That would be awesome. Because I would freely respond so much more.
It's one of the reasons why I stopped replying to everyone, because what I would do is I'd work all day and not check my Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then after work, I'd sit down on my personal computer and reply to 200 people.
But then you're just going to spam everybody.
And I got tons of complaints. So I was like...
I don't want to lose followers by saying thanks, like in 30 tweets. And the guy's like, well, I'm not following this dude anymore. Yeah, as Timmy said, as he described it, Twitter implemented that. I honestly feel like, because saying thank you takes 2 seconds to someone who's following you and sending you a tweet. And if you could just direct it at them, like he said, and not, that would be awesome. Twitter needs to implement that. Yep. I really think that would be, and not just for us three, for everyone. I feel like there'd be a lot more interaction if you could manage it that way. Not broadcast.
I just wonder if
replies.
I wonder if they don't do that because of their whole trending idea. They're probably trying. to
but
grab
let
metrics.
it trend.
That's a good point. They
let
can
it
still
trend.
grab trending
let
metrics.
Twitter see it.
Yeah.
Right? Just don't put it in people's feeds. I don't care if Twitter sees what I said.
It could even show up under the trending topics thing.
Me.
Yeah, it could still trend up under.
Right. Or even if somebody searched for like, TimmyTechTV and all my replies came up, that would be okay. I just don't want to pollute people's feed.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you go to the home tab, you check out your feed, and then it's just all one dude. Because I used to feel bad because I'd look at my home tab, and then I'd respond to 200 people, and then I'd look at my home tab again. I'm like, it's a whole bunch of me.
And you want, at the same time, you want to make them feel appreciated, and you don't want to spam the crap out of stuff, because I don't like that. I have followed people in the past that I've met in real life and unfollowed them a week later, because when I go on Twitter, I don't want 40 of your updates on my screen.
Exactly.
Exactly how Timmy described it. I could not agree more. I'd love to echo your opinion there.
I'm going to jump off the Twitter Blitz for a sec here, and I'm going to jump to a topic that I'm going to try to keep my anger contained as much as I possibly can for. I know this man's going to have some trouble with it.
Actually, hang on one sec.
Sure.
Somebody just replied that said it only broadcasts to feeds if someone is following the person you replied to. That's interesting.
So if I reply
why.
back to I shouldn't have picked this guy's name because I'm going to say
that'll reply to me, so everyone that's following me will also get that. Because I was just wondering in how he said that, because you're replying to both, right? So I think when everyone messages Linus and myself, if I respond, I think everyone following
and
Linus
people
gets it.
mentioned. You only see Twitter replies in your main feed if you follow the original person and the people mentioned. So if I replied and the people mentioned.
I think it's or the people mentioned sometime. Well, I don't know. Interesting. I'll have to play around with that. We can all tweet each other later, and
we're gonna have to figure. I would love to figure this out because I don't have that. Well, I do. Don't get me wrong. I have a bunch, but relatively, I don't have a ton, and I would love to reply to all these guys.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, like, so when you say reply, right?
Yeah.
So, like, say this Twitter Blitz. If I reply to somebody, and I'm just going to pick somebody at random here.
Mm-hmm.
If I delete your guys' Twitter handles, I wonder what happens.
Yeah, try it because I follow you, so
here.
I should be able to. You should be able to tweet it, and once it's up, I can tell you if I see it or not.
It would be good to know because it would make me less afraid to reply to everybody.
Absolutely. Sorry guys for dealing with us, but this is all something we're discovering.
It does not. I follow TimmyTech. It did not just come up in my home feed, and I went to his page and I saw it. So that must work. I used to get complaints. Maybe they changed something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it works,
that's really cool.
We're good
awesome.
to go.
Virtual high five to Timmy. We figured.
Yeah. Well, virtual high five to whoever pointed that out in the Twitter
Joy.
Absolutely. Let's. You know what? I think a couple people did. Alec Joy, absolutely did. Big shout out to that man.
That's cool.
And
he's a Radeon fan.
A couple guys.
Team Red, baby.
Yeah.
He's got it in his logo.
Oh, anyways, he's a USC fan. By looks at it as well.
Let's move on to the next topic.
This guy's awesome. This Alec Joy guy, he's getting some. Let's follow that man right there.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. This one is the League of Legends player that posted nudes of his girlfriend online, and then blamed her effectively. So what happened was he, quote, hacked, unquote, into her account. He probably just
knowing the password and typing it in is not hacking.
So many people say that.
But
he probably just knew the password. Anyways.
Using I forgot my password and logging into their email and doing it that way is also not hacking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So he probably didn't actually hack it. Anyways, he went into her League of Legends account and lost 5 games. She's quite intensely into the game, so that is actually quite a big deal because I believe these were ranked games. Sometime later, very likely unrelated, even though it doesn't freaking matter, she went and played the League of Legends character Lee Sin.
Played a character in a game.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Can I say a character in a game?
Anyways, his response was that he was so enraged that he posted nude pictures of her that were shared only with him on his Facebook page, which is a public Facebook page, and he is a figure in the League of Legends community, so a lot of people saw it. He left them up for 3 days, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He left them up for 3 days until a fellow League of Legends player, and I believe past StarCraft player, same person, correct? Destiny?
Yes.
Yeah. Past StarCraft player, current League of Legends player.
He's not really a pro, he's more of a personality.
Personality, either way, threatened to release his personal information online. So, out of fear for his personal information being released, he took down his girlfriend's nudes, which is way more important.
Is she still
what the hell?
So when I saw you link this thing, I had to go read about it because I was, like, chuckling to myself. So the first funny thing is, like, I went to his Facebook page and just kind of looked through the stuff real quick.
My goodness.
First of all, if you do some background on this guy, he's, like, highly regarded as one of the best non-pro players out there, right? The other thing you notice is the guy is kind of psycho. And a lot of people said that the girlfriend, quote unquote, that he'd been dating her, you know, not very long, let's just say. So, you know, this is one of the problems where, you know, people play so many video games that I think just forget what real life consequences are.
Yeah.
You know, they take everything in a game so personally. You know, it's like, your girlfriend breaks up with you, if you're a guy, you go to a strip club or get drunk or, hang out with the guys.
Or
and
me hit max level in an MMO.
I played an incredible amount of Skyrim.
Play 40 hours of Skyrim straight. But you kind of recede and then get over it and
then you
move
come
on
back
to the next.
Yeah.
I don't. I think bad move. The thing I read on one of the articles about that today was that they've actually banned him from League of Legends and from Twitch.
And from Twitch, yep. So he kind of got decimated by two companies that I respect a lot more for this. One thing that was posted August 10th. This story's been around for a bit. If some people are wondering why we're just covering it now, the story has been around for a bit, but the information has been kind of scatterbrained, and we didn't really cover it now because it was just so messed up, and I was so unsure about so many things. But on the 10th, he posted some YouTube videos to something, and I think it's a song, and he quotes, "I'm going to feel bad saying all this, I'm going to talk about it afterwards. It's sad what society turns my long-loving girlfriend into. What? I can't save her, it's up to her to save herself. Okay. She chose being a monster that just wants to hurt people from a loving, caring girl. What a shame. All because of 4 pictures that didn't really become viral." Hell, this hurts to say. It hurts my brain. "Until she made it viral herself. And I only did it because she ignored me for 3 to 4 days and was doing things similar to what she's doing now. I do not feel anything except bad for her because she doesn't realize how bad the things she is doing is compared to the one little thing that I did. 2 of the most important things in life is knowing what forgiveness and sacrifice is. Sadly, she hasn't learned what those two words mean yet.
I'll teach him.
I will be waiting for her." I feel a lot of people want to teach him a lot of things in physical ways with fists. But
the other thing is he has like 12,000 followers on his page. Did he not think that nude pictures were going to go viral? I don't think it was her.
Okay. Sarah is the girl's name, and Sarah, you're not watching this, but it's not your fault. You're not a monster. Get a restraining order and run. I'm sure she's already running because he's saying that she's ignoring him. That's good. Keep running and run faster because this is not your fault and this guy's nuts. You don't need...
Come hang out with us. He won't get through the door.
Yeah, it'll be alright. Just It's just
a really unfortunate story, and there's so many...
One thing, I'm going to try and add some comedy to this because it's mad. He ruined it for so many dudes. A lot of girls are going to read this and then that's not going to happen anymore.
I was just going to make a comment about how, please girl gamers, don't think that this one jackass is
Just
because I have a daughter, right? I mean, I don't want my daughter to have to deal with this kind of crap when she grows up, right? I watch how men and boys talk to girls. This is kind of a tangent off of this, but I watch how these jerks talk to girls, and it makes me wonder where were their mom and dad to teach them proper manners when a lady's around?
Honestly,
and I sound like an old curmudgeon now at this point.
I'm gonna sound like an old curmudgeon, but my belief is the majority of the time those 2 people, the mom and the dad, weren't in the picture. I can tell you Luke doesn't talk to girls like that. I can guarantee you he doesn't. I don't. It's unfortunately it's because of that, honestly, because they don't have an excellent father figure like I'm sure you are. It's just a sad fact, and it's really too bad that there's so many. League of Legends is so huge, and there seems like there's so many sub pros or B pros or whatever you want to call them, that drama, and the guy raising funds and was in a wheelchair who stood up during his stream and walked away. And there's just other ugly stories that's
very saturated.
It's really depressing when we're on this exceptional growth for the last about 2 years, let's say, of esports. It's really sad that these things come in and really just knock us back a couple steps. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like a lot of these, but let's be honest, most of the people that are in esports, I'm generalizing here vastly, but most of the people that are in esports didn't play other sports. Right.
That's true.
Playing Little League and playing high school football, you learn to lose.
Yeah.
You learn to hate it. but you learned how to be a good sportsman, and you learn how not to lose next time.
And how to be on a team.
Right? Right, and how to be on a team. And I think, a lot of these things with, like these League of Legends, especially like if you don't know the people you're playing with, you can be a jerk because you're like, whatever, I'll just find other people to play with, and screw you guys, and all this stuff. But I've never, even like in all the time I was playing WoW, and you deal with the pugs, and this problem's been around a lot longer than I think it's been getting attention. If somebody's not good, try to help them be better instead of berating them.
That's something that's kind of probably not going to change.
I want to jet in there for a second. You guys probably noticed last time we were together, you were in my fire shirt. It's called Pay Call. It's basically voluntary. I won't get into the details of the difference. I had an interview for a promotion that I ended up receiving, which was cool. But I had a question that was, who are the 3 most unskilled firefighters in your hall? I've got a chief and a captain sitting there asking me this. That's an extremely difficult question, and I won't even get into what I answered. But the follow-up question, Timmy, what you said made me think of it, was how have you helped them improve?
Yeah, mentoring's a big deal, where I work too.
It's huge.
And that's, how people grow in their careers where I work. Part of it is mentoring people that their skills aren't as good as yours, and part of it is being mentored by somebody that has better skills than you.
Being able to be
you have
mentored.
To be able to take, right. And you have to be able to take, the other part of it too is, you have to learn to be able to take feedback from people that are trying to be nice and not be a jerk back. Because I see that sometimes too, where, somebody will be like, hey, if you did this differently, maybe it would help you. And then the person's like, well, I know what I'm doing. You don't know anything, right? So you have to be able to listen to people too and say like, hey, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll try that next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, and something else in here. Where is it? The confrontation between, I think, Destiny and XJ9 was recorded on Wednesday. I don't remember where you can find it, but you can find it. You can hear XJ9 trying to justify why he released the videos it's like a while in, I believe. And apparently he says, we literally said to each other, if I really hated you, the worst thing you could do is play Lee Sin. And that's what she did. Oh, no. She probably didn't take that sentence in the same way you did.
Even if you did?
It probably wasn't actually the worst thing.
Yeah.
And just because someone does something bad to you doesn't mean you need to do it back.
Yeah.
It's a really depressing story.
Most men have probably had a breakup where it ends in, I hate you, I never want to talk to you again. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't,
I find the whole
yeah.
story. I really find the whole story, like, if I was that guy's dad or what, I'd just be, like, smacking him upside the head. It's like, oh, my goodness.
There would be problems.
But again, that's the issue. I'm willing to bet the dad's not in the picture, at least not one like we have, or like you are. That's... We kind of reiterate it here, but I believe that's the source of a lot of issues.
Yep.
I
have twins. I have a boy and a girl, so that'll be interesting someday when... well, it's funny because they hit each other because they're 2 and they don't know what they're doing. And, my daughter pushed down my son, and my son got back up and pushed down my daughter. And I was like, first I was like, I told my daughter that that's not the right way to behave, but then I took my son aside and I was like, listen, buddy, you're going to get hit by girls in life and it's going to suck, but you do not touch them. Yeah. Right? And he's like 2.5 and he's like, okay, Dad.
I don't understand.
I'm graining that in early though, because, you treat women with respect. I know it may be sexist, but I don't care. It's the way that I'm going to raise my kids and the way that I was raised by my parents. So.
All right, now something that I've been stalling for a little bit, actually, that we finally got to, is we have build logs of the week, and I don't think Whalers... Yep, click it. Okay, hopefully we can get that approved. What? Wasn't me? Linus just messaged me, what? Question mark, wasn't me. I have no idea what he's talking about at all.
Nobody does.
Nobody does? Crazy. One sec, I have to share the document, which I'm not even entirely sure how to do.
Request?
Sharing settings. There we go. We got build logs of the week coming. Just there was some problems with the document.
2 seconds, guys.
There we go. Yes, I'm sure. I clicked it 3 times. Okay, you're shared on there now. Now you should download it and then full screen it from... Do you have PowerPoint on there?
I doubt it. Sorry.
Oh, snap.
This is a... Oh, no, I do.
Yeah, I saw that. Good. Okay, download it.
2013.
So, there. Bump it up. We're going to get into build logs of the week, and then we will jump into the after party, which will be, obviously, after. So, probably slideshow. And then from beginning. And then we'll switch to yours.
Man, I used to use PowerPoint constantly in school. It's been...
I use it quite often.
Is this the new way we do things? Oh, I see. There we go.
All
right.
Give me 1 second. So this first one... apparently there's a slight update, but we're going to go with this one because it's been too delayed. So
Okay.
the first one, build logs, go to the next one, is the Nautilus Reactor by Lock Alpha.
How cool is that?
This thing,
That is insane.
like, I don't even know where to start.
That is so cool. Do we have the name of the guy who made this on the forum?
Yeah, go back.
Ooh.
Lock Alpha.
Lock Alpha. Props
I think
to you,
that's how
brother.
he pronounces it.
That
Not
is an
sure.
incredibly good-looking machine.
Submerged in oil, looks absolutely incredible. The attention to detail is just monstrous.
Mind-blowing. Totally
Like,
mind-blowing.
nuts. It's wall mounted, which is just cool because why not? This is definitely one of those things that
Yeah,
you
that's
have
not
to
a
go
floor,
sit on
people.
for.
These are vertical boards.
Oh, yeah.
This is wall-mounted.
Yeah, it's wall mounted.
Look at the CD. That's so cool.
It's nuts.
I know
So
it
cool.
looks really good.
That's incredible.
Oh, the CD even has a curve. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you have to go see this on the forum. Like
Look at
I
that.
know I
How
say that every
authentic
week,
does that look?
but like, jeez.
I love the 3 light bulbs on it. Probably take more power than the whole rest of the machine.
because of yeah. Because
Just
of its form
the
factor and
wattage.
because of those light bulbs and everything, yeah. I actually wouldn't even be that surprised. I'll give you one
That
sec.
is awesome.
Why is the chat hidden?
Have you guys seen
Come
that?
back to-
I think it was in Thailand where a guy puts water in a 2-liter bottle and a little bit of bleach and takes the light in, makes the equivalent of a 500-watt light bulb. You can barely look right at it, and it lasts for weeks.
That's weird.
Sorry. Anyways,
I
are
had
you?
not heard of that. The tubes in there are actually flowing, which is actually
Wow.
pretty insane.
This coiled copper tube?
Yep.
Wow.
I saw that part of the build log. He was filling it. It's just, I don't even know what else to say about it. I might get something mixed up. So please go check out that build log.
That's incredible.
Just absolutely insane. And go next. So now we're getting to Titanium S by Paul Tan. He has made it in our build logs of the week before, actually. Paul Tan is a little bit active on our forum, which is nice. So we can jump into the next. And just, oh man, it's
Beautiful yellow.
Are you recognizing things?
Yep, that's a Cosmos 2 right there.
Yep, it's actually pretty cool. And it looks, you can see the fan through the font, which is quite interesting. If you jump forward again.
Yep.
Sorry, 1 second. I gotta look at this monitor real quick.
That's incredible. I like how he did edit the slide panel there in the front, and I believe that is a fan intake actually.
Yep.
That he put up in the top there. Really cool.
The Mobo tray is converted
Oop,
90
sorry.
degrees, which is like my favorite thing about this building. You can see
Is
the
it?
custom bracket there on the side.
Wow.
And like just how everything comes in. Like check out the power supply. Like does that look like a natural alignment?
No.
Just everything
Beautiful,
in this
though.
computer was just, it's kind of ridiculous.
They took the bars off the top too, which means he had to fill in those holes.
Oh, that's interesting.
This
I didn't
logo's
even notice
also
that
changed,
right.
right? It had the Cooler Master logo here.
Yeah, the paint job's just sick. He also probably could have gotten away with saying Bumblebee. Because it reminds me of Bumblebee.
Definitely, yeah, the black and
I'm
yellow.
trying to think of the name.
Well, and
Name of what?
The movie.
in that photo,
Transformers.
There we go.
I mean, yeah, the side panel is like there's no window. So the thing that
Yeah.
impresses me here is like the massive attention to detail on the inside, and then like, man, I know I'm cool enough to just put the side panel back on.
Yep, definitely. I actually think
Yeah, I think it is
there is a window.
it's
Yeah, I think you
semi-
put in a
okay.
custom
yeah,
window
there's a
there.
window on the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow,
And it
That's
doesn't
really cool.
come with that. So, and he went to the edge with it, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah, see, that's why I thought it wasn't a window.
the
Yep.
window in mine. My father and I
Wow.
did,
Yeah.
and we just cut it in. But it definitely do not go to the edge. Going to the edge completely changes the ball game.
Oh, completely.
Actually, going past, it's going to be hard to see, and you can't actually see with my mouse in this view. But it's hard to describe. But basically, 3/4 towards the front of the machine, there's a bend in the door. Yep. Getting past that with creating a window is incredibly difficult. The fact, like, he had to completely replace it, fabricate it himself. If you're just going to cut it out, like I did, and place plexiglass in behind, you cannot go past that bump without quite a bit of difficulty. Yeah. I know in mine I avoided it. I stopped right before it so it would not go around that curve.
Right, yeah. If we jump forward again, one thing
wicked.
I wanted to point out too is the piping. There we go. The piping. It's just like, that's so clean. That's so incredibly clean.
Beautifully done.
One thing I noticed with Paul Tan's builds is both the builds this week actually are like art pieces.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're obviously functional, but like that last one, very Bioshocky, very like it's submerged, steampunky, but it's submerged. All this kind of stuff is like, it's very much art, but then this is like modern-y, like sophisticated Lamborghini Bumblebee style art. So it's nice to be able to see two different degrees of what you can do with art and design while building a computer, instead of like, I bought an R4 and clean things, and I have a clean R4 with Noctuas, and I'm like, oh, that's badass, but like all the peoples have it, which is cool. But it's nice to be able to differentiate yourself.
It's really hard to do a build like this. Like, I know we spent tons of time on my Cosmos 2 build, and this one is considerably more intricate.
Someone said in the chat, modern art with a question mark. I would say modern art, but there isn't like 4 faces coming out of the front.
I would say modern art, but it's so much better.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a degrading comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Hadron Air I'm doing. I'm actually going to take it to a body shop and have it painted like high gloss white. Nice. Inside and out, because then it's like, at least, you know, if you're gonna do all this like trouble to take everything apart, and that was where when Linus like re-powder, I mean, at least he put a wrinkled powder coat on it, but when he re-powder coated it, I wanted to be like, you took it all apart to make it the same color, like like at least make it like, you know, a different color of black or something. I don't know, you know, make it stand out. That, because that's what, you know, like when you do all this work, a lot of people never see this, right? I mean, a lot of people just do it because they like to, and they're going to see it. And, you know, that's the, you know,
we
seem to be losing.
I still haven't fully posted a build log of my now 1.5 year old Cosmos build. Well, it was for me and my friends, and, you know, it was for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, more and more. I mean, it seems like, you know, engineers are a dying breed, right? And I think stuff like this, where it's like, hey, you know, I'm just customizing a computer case, but a lot of time, you know, when you're talking about, you know, like, hey, I have to make a bracket so that I can add this thing, or, you know, that's engineering. People just don't realize it, right? Because they're doing it for fun. Or like, you know, 3D printing, right? Like I needed a piece for one of my PC cases, and I just went over to a friend's house and like, hey, here's a CAD rendering of what I need, and he just printed it out on this 3D printer, and I put it on my case.
How crazy is that?
That's awesome. So what color?
I will say, like,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
What color are you getting your Hadron in?
I think I'm gonna do like, it's not an Arctic white, but it's same color white that's on Porsches. So it's very like a clean white.
Yeah.
But it's gonna have a poly finish on it, so it'll be shiny.
I drive around in Vancouver.
Just on the outside.
So I see Porsches constantly, and I wouldn't even say it's glossy, but it's a very fine white. I think I like the idea that you described as the Porsche white, because it's actually kind of a different white than a lot of the whites that are out there right now.
Yeah, I think they call it snow white.
Okay.
The color sense. That I chose, but so we'll see.
That's cool.
I know, ha, Snow White. Yes.
Yeah. All right, well, we've done the build logs of the week. I'm going to do one more quick shout out for the Folding and Boink teams on the forum. If you like the forum, if you're on the forum, you should check out the Folding and Boink teams. They're both for a good cause. You can ask Whaler more about either one. Our Folding team is like kind of insane. I think we're still the fastest growing team in the world, which is just monstrous and awesome. And our Boink team is doing quite well as well, so definitely check those out. And on our way out, because he stayed for, I believe, an hour and 13 minutes longer than he was supposed to, somewhere around there. If Timmy Tech can say goodbye and say where you can find him, then we'll sign right off.
Again, on Twitter at TimmyTechTV and on YouTube at youtube.com/TimmyTechTV.
Awesome.
All right, guys. That is it for the WAN show. Cold and I, Richard and I, will be doing an after party. Are you hanging around?
Yeah.
I haven't asked him yet, I don't think, but yeah, sure. We're doing an after party. I don't know what we're going to do, but I have some shenanigans planned. And we are planning on giving away quite a few games. We give away games every single stream that I have. But one of the things that we're planning on giving away on this after party, donated by Ixie_your_face, is going to be an Aurora LTI in Star Citizen that comes with the game, I believe. So it's a big package. You get a ship and you get in the game. So I believe if you
get a ship
this,
and you get in the game.
I believe if you get this, you can go into the hangar module right now and check it out.
And I'll tell you what, Luke. Go ahead and if you want to give away a copy of BF4 to be sent to a person, go ahead and send me a name and I'll donate that out to somebody tonight for the after party.
We're also going to give away a copy of Battlefield 4.
This just in.
Boom!
We're giving away a copy.
So we're not going to give those away at the immediate start of the stream, but after we've been streaming for a little bit so people can take a break and then come join us, we will be giving away Star Citizen stuff. We will be giving away Battlefield 4. That's awesome. Thank Timmy for the Battlefield 4 giveaway. Thank Ixie for the Star Citizen giveaway. That will be at twitch.tv/Luke_LAFR. Big giveaways. Thank you, Timmy. That's freaking awesome.
That's really cool.
Now we're going to sign off so we can go prep to give that stuff away. What were you going to say?
Said no problem.
No problem. Awesome. All right. Wow, I'm so stoked.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, thanks, Timmy, for joining us. Again, everyone check out TimmyTechTV on YouTube and at TimmyTechTV on Twitter and at ColdSC on Twitter and at SlickPC on Twitter and other things I can't think of right now.
Thank you very much,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks for watching the show.